Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day, another edition here of the LiuLi Cup, the LiuLi Cup 2025 Grand Finals playoffs. I'm of course just VIP with whom I'm joined by these amazing players and by the people in the chat as well. Welcome to the LiuLi Cup. This is a big and major event that's been taking place and we've been covering over the past week through the group stage and now through the playoffs as well. Has been a very intense tournament, the best of the best players facing off against each other, and now we've reached the semi-finals. Let us head on over here to the bracket. Let's catch up on our games. Let's catch up on what has been going on. And again, if you missed out on the previous days of coverage, I do recommend the VODs. A lot of amazing games, a lot of amazing matchups here in the first round. As you can see on the quarterfinals, we had Reynor versus Cure. Reynor did advance on to the semis. Maru versus Clem. That was the highlight of yesterday's broadcast, I would say. Very intense back and forth, could have gone either way and barely did go the way of Maru in a very aggressive TVP. Scrolling down, we had Trigger versus Rogue, also close. Rogue did claim the series 3-1. Serral versus Beyond, also an intense TVZ, and led into our semifinals here. We have Reynor versus Maru and Rogue versus Serral. Oh boy, here we go. A ZVZ and a ZVT tonight, bearing in mind as well that tomorrow we're going to be live with the final day, with the third place match and with the grand finals as well. That will be tomorrow. Today we only have the semis, but let's go. It's going to be two best of fives here tonight, and we are going to be kicking things off with Serral versus Rogue. Also, welcome to all those in the chat as well. Did notice that I stand redeemed replay. No, we'll get around to that, papi. Should I be concerned? Should I be worried? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. For now, though, let's focus on our matches here. We're going to be jumping to game one. Game one is going to be on Tourmaline between Serral and Rogue. Let's go. Let us go. Now, coming into this matchup here, historically, Serral, his weakest matchup has been ZVZ. That is true, but at the same time, it's also important to acknowledge the fact that that was mainly the case back in 2024. Since then, since, you know, the era of Solo versus Serral and their back and forth that they had, or even more dominant performance out of Solar, since then, Serral has been improving. He has been working specifically on his ZVZ. We'll get into it. Spawning in the top right hand corner of Tourmaline, we have the blue Zerg player, himself, representing Basilisk. It is Serral. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the other Zerg player, the red Zerg for Team Falcons. It is Rogue. We go. We're getting into our matchup. We're getting into our ZVZ, and quickly touching on Serral. So for a long time, Serral, his weakest matchup was ZVZ. This was also during the era when Serral was a lot more standard in his play, and he would very often be the reacting player in ZVZ. That is where we had the era of Solar being the Serral Slayer. Again, that was back in 2024, where Solar would beat Serral time and time again, and would be the reliable Serral sniper when it came to World Team League, WTL. So he had a really strong showing. Back then, again, Serral, he was just reacting. He was trying to get into the mid game, get into a more macro setting, and build up in towards, you know, back and forth ZVZ. And he was being punished time and time again by different cheeses, different all-ins, and different quirky builds, kind of hiding their true nature and catching Serral with his pants down. The pants were down a lot of times with Serral back then. But since then, he has evolved, he has adapted, and he has grown in ZVZ to be a lot more aggressive himself, to force his opponent to be more reactive. We've been seeing a lot of all-ins out of Serral, a lot of early timing attacks, a lot of aggression. On top of that, his scouting has since improved as well when it comes to checking drones, checking saturation, checking for tech, and even just playing safely as well. So we have been seeing a big shift from Serral over the past couple of years in his ZVZ. I still think I would say it's his weakest matchup. I say that, I mean, at the same time, I'm thinking of ZVT in his recent series against Clem, his recent series against Hero Marine, Big Gabe. That is also true, so I'm still a little bit iffy on that one. But for, like, generally, I still want to say that it's still on the weaker side of things, but has greatly been improved, and he's still, I mean, the reigning champion for a reason. Is still the reigning champion. And I might even say that now his ZVZ is better than his ZVT. True. I think I might go that far. How times have changed, papi. How times have changed. So from here, Hatch Gas Pool, Standard Opener going to a third expansion as well. Likewise, so it's Rogue, mirrored builds. Currently, we do have mirrored builds, nothing crazy, nothing wild, nothing quirky here from our players. As Rogue, he does actually pull back in, or maybe even never even pulled out of gas. So excess gas here for Rogue. This can be indicative of more aggression. Bailey, let's hear from Serral, and we do see one from Rogue as well. So no one does skip their tech. We're going to be taking up into Ling Bane, and we'll see if Rogue does commit a little bit harder, as he does have excess gas to work with. So eyes are on Rogue. Oh, and now we see why we have excess gas. It's for the early Roach Horn. Okay. So again, I was curious. It is standard to pull one out of gas early on because you do not need as much gas in ZVZ. There's no reason. It's inefficient. That's why we did take note of that, and that's why we now see that early Roach Horn. So Rogue is going for a Roach Rush. He's going for a Roach Rush. It's going to be on Serral to confirm what the hell is going on, to figure out what Rogue is up to. Does make an excess wave of Lings here, so Serral, he will apply some pressure, but more importantly, can he get into the bases? Can he scout what's going on? Serral, he does move out. Welcome to Tourmaline, of course. Tourmaline has a very short rush distance by ground. Short rush distance by ground. Aggression is favored here on Tourmaline as well, as Lings, they do poke in. And oh, they do poke in. A couple of them peel up in towards the bases. They do scout the hidden Evo chamber. Not much more than that, but that's a sign. That's a sign of things to come. That is a tell. You would not rush into chamber just for plus on melee, not this late. So far, Serral, he does back off, just dancing with the army. So winding it back here, going for the Evo chamber this delayed means it's most likely +1 carapace, and that often leads into a Roach all-in. So Serral, he's somewhat aware of what's going on. We can see that actually the Evo chamber is not being used. That Rogue, he's making nothing but roaches. He's going for an earlier timing, an earlier all-in, and Serral, thankfully, he's not droning. Serral, he's not droning. He does run up to 39. He did make workers, did lose a queen, actually. Queen gets surrounded, but Roach production has begun, and if given time, Serral, he will hold. Just needs time. And here comes Rogue. Rogue is not going to give him that time. The all-in is coming, flooding across the map. We have a couple of banelings on the way as well to zone away the Lings. Serral, he will have a couple of queens to defend, but again, remember, he lost one of the queens already. Yeah, did lose a queen. His baneling's going to be imperative here to deny those Lings, to zone them away. And it will be important to zone. Rogue is going to be committing in. Rogue, he does have... Oh, he's actually not up in roaches, actually. Yeah, the roach count is not there. Bailey's good connection on the Lings. A couple more Lings are going to be trickling in, but there's still more Bailings here for Serral. Very nice play here, just keeping them in the back. Zoning back those Zerglings, and Serral holds. So he shuts us down here again. Didn't waste the Bailings, kept them back, shut down the Lynx around. And Serral, he has a massive lead. He's even droning in the middle of the defense. He's playing against it all in, and he's droning up. He's crazy, man. He's crazy. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, so he does break out across the map, droning up to 45. Still droning. Lair is on the way. Fun fact, Rogue is still all in. Rogue, he's still making nothing but Lings, nothing but roaches. Serral has to be careful not to overextend. Serral also needs his own defensive Banelings. If he fails to make Banelings here, then Rogue's secondary all-in, the second wave, could still work. And there it is. There it is. 2 Banelings are now being morphed in as we speak. Once again, these Banelings are a deterrent to make sure these Lings do not surround the roaches. Or if they do, I mean, they'll be punished. So Serral is setting up. And the longer this game goes on, the better it is for Serral. Serral, he's up 20 workers. He's got 50 drones to the 30 of Rogue. It's got a booming economy, safety spine crawler, going for the lair for eventually roach speed. Ling does just scout the third base, confirms no saturation, confirms no gases. He just confirms the all-in. Does morph in extra Banelings. Speaking of, they get some okay connections. The rest of the Banelings do finish up though. Yeah, they finish up in time. They zone away the army. GG gets called, and Serral takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Serral takes the lead in the series. Again, a cheeky build here by Rogue to go for the earlier, early cast income, to go for the early Roach Warren. If you remember, the Roach Warren was not scouted, but the Evo Chamber was, which was a sign of aggression, which was a sign of an all-in, and it did prompt Serral to set up. GG. GG, well played. He was ready in time, was able to clean up the army, and with that, Serral takes the lead in the series. Does take a lead. Bearing in mind this is the best of 5, so we do have plenty of opportunities to recover, to bounce back. I don't think game 1 was really any big indication of the series as a whole, just because it was a cheeky all-in that Serral was able to prepare against. Let's go. Let's follow the series. Let's jump into game number 2. Game 2 is going to be on Ruby Rock. As we get into game 2, though, a big shout out to Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the donation, for tipping $10. $10. Thank you so much for the support, Iceland. We do appreciate it, as always. Do appreciate the support. Hope you enjoy the content, the casting, and the StarCraft. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. As we're getting into our first series and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Ruby Rock, we have the blue Zerg player, the South Korean Zerg representing Team Falcons. Down in the series, we'll see if we can bounce back and make a series out of this. It is Rogue. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Finnish Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing Basilisk. It is Serral, the reigning world champion. Does open up, it does settle in, and once again hatch first. Important to bear that in mind. There's no say 12 pool, there's no early gas, there's no early shenanigans going on here from either player. Should just be hatch gas pool. And welcome to Ruby Rock. Welcome. Ruby Rock is another one of these more aggressive maps in the map pool. Aggression is favored here, more aggression. Likewise, when I say that, not just the rush distance, but also the third bases. The third and fourth base locations are a little bit more open, a little bit more accessible, so we should see some more early timing attacks once again. Even if we do get into a standard back and forth, aggression is still going to be favored there as well when it comes to move-outs, when it comes to reinforcing. Here we go. Once again, early on, our eyes are going to be on gas income. We did take note earlier in game 1 that Rogue, he did stay in gas that much longer. And we'll see if that trend continues here, or if we deviate. But now, 3 workers in gas is normal. It's post link speed. So you get into link speed and then you make the decision to pull out or stay in. Meanwhile, a big shout to Angry. Share, my papi, share, my... Thank you so much for the raid. Thank you so much for the support. We do appreciate it. I hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. Hope you had a great time. Dzień dobry. Siema. Thank you. Este Angry. Hope you had a great time. As for those who are just now tuning in, we are catching up with LiuLi Cup. We're in the semifinals. Here, Rogi pulls out. He does pull out of gas. Likewise, so does Serral. Which, again, this is what we expected in game 1 and what we didn't see out of Rogue. Serral actually pulls an extra drone of gas, actually. That's a little bit greedy. This is a little bit greedy. I believe this will also delay the Baneling nest here for Serral, for pulling 2 out. So interesting. Is the plan to just skip the Baneling nest entirely and go for an early Ling Flood into a Roach Warren? We'll see. We shall see. This is just a little bit greedier here from Serral, as he's going to be able to squeeze out a little bit of extra mineral income. There's the safety Baneling nest for Rogue. There's the nest. Yo, meanwhile, shout out to oh, that's the Phoenix. Not sure which Phoenix. There are many Phoenixes in our community, but thank you so much for the donation. Meanwhile, do you see the Link Flood again? Now it makes sense why he did pull extra workers out of gas. So there is no Baneling nest, or I should say there's a very late Baneling nest. We have a Link Flood on the way here from Serral. Serral is going to be aggressive early on with early Lings. His Baneling is going to be delayed though as a result of that. But thank you so much Phoenix, for the donation of 10 USD. Thank you, puppy, thank you. Do appreciate it. Este Phoenix. Also, hope you enjoy the content, and it's been a while. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Serral does move out across the map. He's going for the third base. Likewise, we see Rogue also massing up Lings. Also doesn't mass. So far, Serral getting some damage done on the expansion, but behind this, Serral's joining. Yeah, Serral is joining. Gonna be zoned away. So he needs to buy time here for his own defensive Banelings, and here they come. They're morphing in. So we have a bit of a back and forth. Serral did actually join up that much harder. He was able to join up, able to saturate. Oof. Oh god, that's a lot of Banelings here from Rogue. They do zone away. The third base is under fire here for Serral. Oh. His Banelings roll in. So far they zone back Rogue. We do get a surround. Lings get on top of the queens, and Serral may lose every single queen here. Again, the Banelings, they just did not connect, losing every single queen. There's one Baneling remaining. Oh my, it does finish. Oh no. Yeah, Baneling completes, and Serral, he might barely hold on here, but there's another Baneling. Oh my god. No major connection here from Rogue though. Yeah, Baneling is dealt with, and Serral barely holding on. A messy defense here, losing all 3 queens. Again, he did A-move one of the Banelings, or 2 of the Banelings earlier. So slip up in micro, slip up in control. But Serral still has that economic advantage. Oh! Baneling doesn't quite connect. But again, Serral is still up in workers. He has to replenish and replace those queens though. Queens are being replaced, and Rogue, he's not joining. Rogue is cutting workers at 35, and he's going for another big Ling Flood. He's got the Roach one, he's taking an extra gas geyser, but he's being hyper aggressive. As Banelings, they attempt to waddle into the mineral line. Oh no! Jesus, big connection. Catching up half of those Zerglings. Oh, nice movement out of Serral. Saves the Queen. Yeah, the Queen is saved, and here comes the next wave for Rogue. Ooh, at the same time, Serral gets into the main. 6 turns go down. Oh no! And Serral's holding. Serral's holding, and again, look at the worker count. Look at the worker disparity. Serral, he's on the 2 base economy, 44 drones. Up. He's got the economy, and he's going for a 2 base all in. Roach production has begun. Because this map is so small, even without Roach speed, Serral, he can just push. He can just push across the map and end the game. Rogue is in trouble here. He's making his own defensive roaches. And I assume that Serral is going to be moving out, but no, Serral, he builds up those roaches, and now he's droning. So Serral, he's just making this for safety. Now droning up, now saturating. And getting into the mid game. We're calming down. We're calming things down. Now, we'll see if Rogue does reciprocate here. Behind this, we do see that Rogue is going to the early Eva chamber into earlier, slightly earlier +1, only by a couple of seconds. Lair does begin for Serral, so taking up into the mid game. Meanwhile, Rogue has not started his own lair. There is no lair on the way, and Rogue, he's cut workers. 46 drones, that is just over 2 base saturation. Roach production continues. Rogue, he now starts to take up, but I'm still not convinced that Rogue is going to drone. Oh, as he will lose another worker. Another drone goes down. Rogue does replace. Intentionally only making the 1 drone. And it's all on Serral to survive the all-in. A este dał dać god. Guys, that. First time was like, this one's for Kuro. Oh, I stand. Thank you, baby. Thank you. God, baby. Yeah. Gracias. We appreciate the support. We both do appreciate it. Thank you. And also, este dał dać god. I wasn't sure, baby. Well, thank you, Phoenix. Thank you. Este dał dać god. Again, Rogue's all in. Rogue is completely all in. He's moving out across the map with everything he's got. We have how many? We have 28 roaches here for Rogue. He's got 1 Baneling, so Ling's coming in to reinforce. Serral has a comparable roach army. He's got queens to defend, and spine crawlers are also on the way. Rogue comes in from behind, tries to slip in, but there are roaches to defend. Banelings are denied. And Rogue at least has a couple of Ravagers here over his opponents. But honestly, Serral has an overwhelming roach army. He's had the better economy, and he's got a large army. He will just completely shut this down. Yeah, the greater concave as well. Spine Crawl's not even coming into play, and Rogue will lose everything. He'll lose everything here. GG gets called, and Serral, he will take game number 2, extending his lead in the series. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Once again, a bit of a cheeky build here from Serral this time. Serral, he was the one that deviated. Remember, he did pull out of gas earlier, getting extra mineral income, delayed Baneliness, went for a Ling Flood himself initially, but he wasn't committed. He kind of forced a reaction. And fun fact, he made all these Lings, he moved that across the map, and he droned hard behind it. And that's the moment where he gained a worker lead, and he maintained that worker lead as well. Even when it came to the follow-up, when both players were getting to roaches, Serral was the first to drone. So even though eventually Rogue, he was kind of catching up in workers, Serral was mining more for longer. He was mining more for longer, so he just had the greater economy, he had more in the bank, and he could produce more army as a result. When it came to the all-in, again, like Rogue, he kind of stumbled his way into that all-in with a stifled economy, with a delayed all-in as well, and Serral, he was more than prepared. A very, very comfortable defense. Again, the spine crawler didn't even come into play. GG. GG, well played. And with that, Serral takes a 2-0 lead in the series. And does he just claim it all here and now? I'm hoping for more of a back and forth here, but the pressure is on Rogue. The pressure is on, and spawning in the bottom hand corner of the Old Republic, we have the blue Zerg player. We have the blue Zerg player himself down heavily in the series. He has to fight back here, and now to have a chance in this best of 5, it is Rogue. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have the red Zerg player. We have the Finnish Zerg representing Basilisk. It is Serral. One game away from claiming the series. And again, we've seen two different sides of Serral here. Game 1, Serral was a defender. Game 2, Serral, he did initiate the aggression. Will not say he was all in, but he did kind of initiate and did apply pressure, did kind of force a reaction. This time we're loading into a much larger map. Okay, we're loading into the Old Republic. If we were to embrace the mid-game for the first time this series, it would be on this map, right? It would be on the Old Republic, so there's a higher chance of that happening here. Not saying that will happen, but I mean, hey, we could even see Muta play. We could even see 3-base roaches as well. We can actually drone and saturate. We can calm down. The previous two maps, Tourmaline and Ruby Rock, did kind of, they do favor aggression, so we expected shorter games on those maps. Here we expect something longer. Let's go. So now, hatch gas pull, standard openers. Once again, we're going to be keeping an eye on the gases and how we pull out of gas, more importantly. That has, I mean, led into both game 1 and game 2. That kind of led into the early game. And did telegraph the initial builds of our two players. Oh, speaking of early game, the gas was not as important here, but we have a macro hatchery, Ling Flood. Rogue is going for Ling Flood, is going for a 1-base all-in, lower chance that he will fully saturate his own natural. He has an extra hatchery here for extra larva. It's all about extra larva, extra production, extra army, a bigger all-in. Oh boy. So very, very larva heavy here in the early game, and it's going to be on Serral to confirm. Again, Serral with his first two pair of Lings should be scouting, should be moving out across the map. Back at home, he pulls one out of gas, so standard build here by Serral. He should be getting into Baneling Nest momentarily. Meanwhile, Rogue, he pulls out even harder here, only leaving one in gas, but we understand why. It is because of the Ling Flood. But unlike last game where Serral did go for an early Ling Flood, then drone behind it, here there's a higher chance he goes for a Ling Flood, and then makes more Lings behind it instead, and goes for an all-in. Oh boy. Leaving one in gas does mean that eventually Rogue can get a Baneling Nest, but it's not the prioritization. It's not the priority. Oh, okay. Walling up with the Evo Chamber. Not expanding. I mean, he doesn't need that third base for Lava. True. Does he fake 2-base Roach and then go for a Ling Flood? Serral didn't get into the bases. You can see he's being active with his Zerglings, but again, he did not get in. Rogue is droning, but again, it looks like fake 2-base Roach. The hatchery has not been seen. And Serral, he's actually responding and reacting with his own Ling Flood. Okay, that I was not expecting. So Serral, he confirmed that there is no expansion. Honestly, these Lings are a bit of a waste. These Lings, they could be drones, right? They could be workers. I say they're a bit of a waste. Based on what Serral's seeing, they're a bit of a waste because he's seeing 2-base Roach. But we can see that Rogue is going all in. So, I mean, these Lings are going to be useful in some way. To see Rogue fully walling up, it's going to be +1 Carapace. That does mean that Banelings will not be enough to kill Lings. Lings will survive a Baneling shot. And Rogue is massing up and banking all those Zerglings. And the goal is to try to catch Serral with his pants down, to catch him droning. Right now, Serral, he's getting a lair, taking gases, he's droning up. Serral's getting ready for a longer mid-game. And we might be able to make a series out of this. Defensive Banelings may not even be enough because of the Carapace upgrade, assuming it kicks in. Now, thankfully, Serral did actually make a Baneling Nest, so that will help in the defense. But he's going to need a lot of banelings. Oh, he's going into muta play, not roaches. So there's no roaches on the horizon. It's just going to be Ling Bane versus Ling. And here he comes. Yeah, here he comes. Does pull the trigger. Now he knows. Yeah, now he sees. Now he knows. Serral back at home. He needs banelings as quickly as possible. He's got 4 banelings on the way. But is it too late? Is it too late, Bappy? Now, bearing in mind that carapace will not be a factor early on. It's not done yet. Lings, they can be one-shot. Oh, speaking of. First baneling goes off. Mainly zoning away. No major connections. Not yet. Ooh, as another baneling gets targeted. Yeah, we do see Roki comes over behind. Gets one of the queens. Yeah, one queen goes down. Lings, they flood into the mineral line. Can he get a second queen? Looks like he barely can. Yeah, 2 queens do fall. Boys are being pulled. We're just rallying more Lings across the map. And Roki may have just done it here. The banelings are being denied. Serral, he needs those banelings. Oh, he's got 2 left. Okay. He has 2 banelings left. Serral, remember, he has a greater economy. Just has to survive. Just has to live, pappy. Plus 1 carapace is done. He's got the upgrade. He's got the upgrade. He's zoning away. Yeah, Rogue coming in from behind him, healing up here towards the natural. Serral's keeping up. He's keeping up with the movement. Oh, a bit of a waste. Yeah, it does end up losing his banelings. Oh, that was both banelings. Uh-oh. Yeah, no banelings left. Rogue, he's flooding in. Mutas are trickling out. And looks like Serral, he loses another queen. Yeah, another queen goes down. He's droning. He's droning in the middle of the all-in again. Serral, calm down. Your opponent's all in. They're not saturating, papi. Ay, ay, ay. Spine Crawler does finish. Another queen goes down, losing every single queen. Yeah, Serral just so greedy here in the defense. We could have seen extra Lings, extra banelings, even an extra Spine Crawler. Forcible the boys. Nice round. Very nice round. Despite that, drones are falling. The advantage that Serral once had, I mean, he's losing it. More Lings into the main. And again, Rogue, he may have just broken Serral. It's still getting quite close here. There are a couple of banelings on the way for Serral. Lings, oh no, they want another queen. They're gonna get it. Another queen goes down. I mean, the mutas will eventually clean all of this up, but how long is it going to take? Ooh, massive connection. Okay. Serral, he's holding. Serral, he's holding on. He's still up in workers. Did lose all the queens, but he still has a greater economy. And as the muta count gets higher and higher here, Rogue, he's running out of steam. He's running out of steam. He's running out of army. Rogue, he came so close. Oh. Ooh, does waste a baneling. 1 baneling left. We get an okay connection, but Lings, they flood into the main. Do they kill another queen? Oh, there's no queen. There's no queen to kill. But there are drones. Oh, even going into Maru. Okay. Let's go. The 3rd base goes down. Damage is being done. So Serral, he will lose the expansion. He will lose every queen. Rogue could drone from here. Yeah, he's droning. Rogue is taking asses. He's droning up. Rogue has a greater economy now. Again, Serral was just too greedy in the defense. He had the lava, he had the resources to get extra spines or to just even make more Lings. He was droning, Pappy. It's crazy. But of course, Serral at least has mutas. With his mutalist, he can hunt down overlords, deny vision, deny scouting, ensure that his opponent never expands. Attempted changeling scouts. Oh, we actually rush into the infestation pit. Rogue is going into infestors. Okay. Interesting. The banner does get picked off. Serral hunting down overlords. It's a little bit odd here just because infestors, they're a deterrent of mutas, but they're not the answer, right? Like, 1 fungal will not kill the mutas. Neither will 2. Usually your infestors are supporting hydras or supporting queens. There are 6 queens here for Rogue, true, so he's gonna try to macro out of this. Okay. We'll attempt to macro. Infestors are out. Here comes a fungal. Infestor gets spotted. Nice splits. It does split, but Serral, he wants the expansion more than anything, and he will get it. Does force a cancel. Serral pulls away. Serral does pull away. Again, Roki's trying to get into a longer macro game. Making a lot of infestors. Now, as we're settling in, Serral, of course, he has a faster 3-base saturation, so he does have the greater economy. Even though Rogue has an equivalent worker count, he's long distance mining, right? So he's long distance mining. Gas is now in favor of Serral. Serral, he can build up more mutas. For now, he's going to double upgrades for Ling Bane. And we'll see if he starts to take up into Roaches or into Lurker tech. Where are you taking us, Pappy? Where are you taking us? And again, the Hive is on the way. No shot we go Hive into Greater Spire into Broodlords. I mean, that is a tech. That's a tech path available to us. Another one that will be a little bit more natural would be a Hive into Ultras, just due to the melee upgrades. That's a bit of a more natural transition. Is Ultra tech. Yep, there it is. Ultra Cavern's on the way. I wouldn't be surprised if Rogue is going Ultras as well. So Hive is in production for Rogue. I mean, I say that the Hive should be for Vipers to help deal with all these mutas. Again, we've got a lot of fungals, but this is not killing anything. Like, it's those are 4 fungals, and they just chip away at the mutas. Again, fungals, they're not the answer to the muta. They're more of a supportive unit. Fungal with Power Bomb, though, true. Now, I'm sure that Rogue is noticing that the muta count isn't getting any higher, right? That there aren't that many mutas here. And yeah, we're getting into Ultra versus Ultra. Let's go, baby, let's go. I'll be honest, I don't think I've seen Ultra versus Ultra before, or at least not in recent years. Yeah, because often in ZVZ it's like it's either Muta Wars where both players go mutas and they don't stop making mutas. It's kind of like Phoenix Wars, or one player's going muta and the other player goes into, oh, as we do have some fungal aggression, okay, some fungal harass, but otherwise you often do see one player going mutas, the other player goes Hydra Lurker Viper, and then you see Ultra versus Lurker, like that kind of stuff we have seen. But I can't recall the last time I've seen late game Ultra versus Ultra. As infestors are being called out. Nice catch here from Serral. Nice catch. Again, Serral still has a greater economy. Ultra upgrades are on the way. Same can be said for Rogue. Did have some cheeky harass. Meanwhile, big shout out to Wilhelm. Wilhelm2468 in the chat. God, Papi, God. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for subscribing for the first time with your Prime. Thank you, Papi. Thank you. Hope you enjoy the content. Hope you enjoy the StarCraft. Serral, he attempted the Baneling run by. Infested did survive, did defend. Did defend the mineral line. Eventually, we're going to want to get rid of these mutas. I mean, they're still getting value. They're still harassing, poking in. We could see the mutas dive and focus on some infestors. As the infestor harass continues. It does continue at the same time. Lings, they do get a surround. Hatchery does fall. Nice pickup. Nice pickup of the expansion. Usually they punish the Zerglings. We're up to how many Ultras? We have 7 Ultras for Serral. We have 6 for Rogue. When it comes to upgrades, we're even. We're tied up. I will say that Rogue is getting 3-3, and Serral, his own +3 carapace is a little bit late. So there's going to be a window in time where Rogue has the better upgrades. True. We'll have the better upgrades. Serral can he get the queens? He gets 2. 2 queens get caught out. Oh. Let's respect those infestors. Does have to respect them. Use a find a little bit more damage. At the same time, looks like there was a baneling run by. Or was it infested again? Again, just really nice use of Burrow here by Rogue. So he's now pushing out, breaking through the front lines. I remember that Infestor's Fungal does not slow down Ultras. Ultras, they have that, they have like the unstoppable trait. They cannot be slowed down. Meanwhile, mass around here on the Ultras of Rogue. 3-3 is not yet done, but Rogue comes in for the Serral. He tries to at least. Oh no! They just want hugs, Pappy. They just want hugs. And with reinforcing Ultras with Transfuse as well, Rogue he should defend, and he will. Yeah, again, I don't think I've ever seen Ultra versus Ultra at high levels EZ before. Like, god damn it. Oh, no, oh my god, a very nice baneling run by. 13 drones go down. Slowly does slip by, does slip past. Just trying to hug each other, papi. Yeah. But honestly, really crucial timing there from Serral to be able to engage before the upgrades were done, so he was able to trade as best he could. Muta's still going to be harassing, more drones going down, Serral can now remax that much faster, and even though Rogue took the fight, he's still stuck at home. He's stuck at home, letting his AP off into the mineral lines. Main army being active. And it's going to be 26 drone kills. Ay. Yeah, far too much damage. He's not done. No Spore. Oh, no Spore at the third. As with Chain Fungals, looks like the mutas are finally going to go down. Never mind. Never mind. They slip away. Here comes Serral. He's got 14 ultras to the 11 of his opponents. We're even on upgrades. There are transfuse, true. So transfuse is a big factor. The queens, they come in to help support. And once again, Rogue is holding. Rogue is holding. Oh, the Moon Command. Yeah, rough Moon Command as well. Serral bleeding out a lot of ultras. At the same time, mutas they once again get into the mineral lines. Lings at the natural base. Mutas at the third. And Rogue is all in. Rogue is all in. He's rushing across the map. Unfortunately, we have defender's advantage. Serral is going to have his own roaches, his own ultras. He's got his own transfuse. True. His own transfuse. He's here to hold the line, and he will. Oh my god. Again, it's quite close here, but Rogue, he just does not have enough ultras. Mutas, they race back home to defend. We have more reinforcing ultras here from Serral. And despite the chaotic nature here of game number 3, Serral, he will close it out here. Again, winding back, how did this all begin? Rogue went for a massive Ling Flood with a macro hatchery of all things. GG gets called. In the end, it did not work out. Serral, he holds, he defends, and he does overwhelm. He will claim the series 3-0. GG. Whew. GG, well played, congratulations Serral, he will claim the series. Honestly, this was a shakier game for Serral. Winding it back, remember, how did this all begin? With Rogue going for a massive Ling Flood that went unscouted, and Rogue, he was doing damage. He was killing drones, he was sniping queens, he was mining at the third base at least, like he was getting damage done. But he took one too many banings to the face and eventually ran out of steam. He did take a worker lead, but he was down in expansion, and we saw that Serral was able to recover from there. Able to build back up. More importantly, in that defense, Serral, he did get into mutas, so he was able to gain map control, harass across the map, and slowly recover over time thanks to his muta harass and thanks to his Ling Bane harass as well. GG. GG, well played. It was still very risky, it was still very shaky, and I still would put that onus on Serral. He almost had a cleaner defense, but he started droning in the middle of the all-in. It was crazy. He started droning, and that led into how shaky and how difficult that defense was for Serral. As he was losing workers, as he was losing queens and losing lings, and almost lost the game. But GG. And GG, well played. Without Serral, he will claim the series 3-0. He will advance on into the grand finals. Meanwhile, if you're a fan of Rogue, do not fret, so do not worry that we do have some other matches with him. He's going to be knocked down to the bronze match, the third place match instead. He'll be there. He will be there. Otherwise, we're going to be cutting to a short break as we are getting ready for our next matchup. Here we go. So Serral, he does advance on to the grand finals over Rogue 3-0. Meanwhile, we still have the upper semifinals available. It's going to be a best of 5 between Reynor and Maru. It's going to be a rematch. If you remember, if you recall, Reynor did defeat Maru previously at RSL in RSL in the RSL offline finals. That was back in December in Seoul, South Korea, or I guess Gangnam, South Korea. So Reynor, he did bring down Maru back then. That was back in December. He also, I believe, took down Maru. Reynor took down Maru. I believe he also took him down. It was during, was it Thunderfire or Rongi Cup? God, those two tournaments, the brackets blend together. But Thunderfire was Hero versus Reynor in the finals, and I believe Reynor brought down Maru. Yes. So Reynor, he beat Maru at RSL. That was in December. He beat Maru at Thunderfire, which was in January. And does he do it again, or does Maru finally get his revenge? Now, what I will say about those two series, even though Reynor did take them, it was still a back and forth. It was not like a one-sided affair. It was very intense at TVZ, and honestly, the highlight of those events, to be honest. Like, it was some really, really nice StarCraft, really nice play out of both Reynor and Maru. I look forward to seeing it again, as they're slowly becoming rivals, as they keep facing off in these big major premier tournaments. Keep facing off. Catching up. Otherwise, we're going to be cutting to a short break. When we come back, we'll have our next series. When we come back, we'll have our next matchup. We'll have the upper semis. See you soon after the break. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the second half of the broadcast. Welcome back to the semi-finals of the LiuLi Cup 2025 Grand Finals playoffs. Here we go. Yesterday, of course, we were live with the quarterfinals, and now we're here with our top four, and we already have one finalist, Serral. Serral, he took down Rogue in the previous series in a strong showing, 3-0. That final game was a little bit shakier, of course, and there was a lot going on there, but in the end, we're still able to close it out. And I'm hoping for a bit of a more back and forth series here with our next set of players, with our next semi-finals. Once again, a best of 5, and it's going to be a rematch. As I mentioned before, Reynor did defeat Maru previously in December in the RSL offline finals. That was back in December. That was a big offline event happening in South Korea. Meanwhile, Reynor also defeated Maru in Thunderfire, the Thunderfire All-Star Invitational. Also, that was back in January, and now they face off again. Like, they've been playing a lot. They've been playing a lot as of late. They've been learning from each other. They've been growing with each other as well, and we'll see how our rematch series compares. Let's go. Let's live up to here as we're jumping into game one. Game one is going to be on the Old Republic. Now, when it comes to Maru's, I mean, there's a lot to discuss when it comes to their preferred styles in their respective matchups. We'll get into it. As spawning in the bottom-hand corner of the Old Republic, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran representing Team Vitality. It is Maru. And spawning in the top-hand corner, we have the Italian Zerg player. The Italian Zerg, the Blue Zerg for Basilisk. It is Reynor. Here we go. They're facing off once again. This time in the semifinals, this time in a best of 5, and we'll see how they compare to each other. Now, coming into this matchup, I'm ready. I'm excited. Maru has been adjusting and adapting his TVZ quite a lot over the past 6 months, which I do appreciate. One of the big criticisms last year was Maru and was his more, I would say, limited and restrictive style. If you're watching Maru back in the first half or even the first 3 quarters of 2025, we saw a lot of mech and we saw a lot of ARAXs. And that was it. It was either mech or ARAX or mech, and that was all he had to show in TVZ. But post-patch and post-map pool, Maru has kind of spread his wings and has been going for quirkier builds. As you're seeing here, CC first. CC first out of Maru, hyper greed out of our Terran player, and he should get away with it. Speaking of getting away with it, he can't keep getting away with it. I stand. Oh my god. Thank you so much for the generosity today, I stand. Thank you so much for the tips, for the donations earlier, but also now for the gifted subs to the community. 5 gifted subs. Thank you so much, Pappy. Thank you so much. Do appreciate it, I stand. Gifting subs to Factor, to New Gen Dad, to Yenmi, to Lee DJ, and to Air Bear as well. Thank you. Do appreciate it. Time to get buenas noches, man. Buenas noches. Get some sleep. Get some rest. But yes, Maru, he does open up with a very greedy build, going CC first, going into a delayed Rax, and we'll see if he goes into something greedier from here. We have seen Maru be very diverse in this play. I was just kind of getting into that. How previously he was very one-note. He was very one-note in the first half of 2025, and honestly, I was very disappointed by that. Like, it was a bit of a lackluster 2025 as a result of that. But coming into the end of 2025, post-patch and post-map pool, we've been seeing Maru be a little more aggressive, a little more active, a little more diverse in his play. It's been a little more exciting and enticing to see Maru over the past 6 months, 5 months, like 5-ish months. Has been great to see. Likewise, Reynor has also been able to spread his wings as well because of the new patch. Lingbane is a lot more viable. He was already a Lingbane enjoyer, more so than Serral, who was very fond of roaches, for example. So Reynor is also a very active player. That is why historically I would say that Reynor, he had better performances against Clem compared to Serral due to this more active style. Of course, infamously in recent months, Reynor has been enjoying Ling Infestor Ultra, which is skipping roaches and skipping banelings and going straight into Hive Tech. Ling slip in, and we do confirm. Oh my god, even Maru pulling the boys? Yeah, it's night mining time. Why the boys are being pulled, the Reaper was already out, now coming back home. So it's nice mining, and also confirms the 3rd CC. So big scout here by Reynor. Confirms the 3 CC setup, confirms the greed out of his opponent. So Reynor's aware of the greed Reynor cannot punish. Cannot punish it. But this may inform Reynor coming into the rest of the series, right? It wouldn't be surprising to me if, say, on White Rabbits or on Winter Madness, Reynor decides to open up pool first. Just because Maru, he's shown his willingness to open up a CC first. So I say pool first, but going into like an early Roach or Limb or something like that. On some of these other maps. Bearing in mind that a pool first wouldn't actually punish the CC first. True, true. For now, though, it's going to be 3 CC Banshee out of Maru, getting into his own Cloak. So Cloak is being researched. Reynor is dipping in with the Overlord, and Reynor, he should confirm what's going on. As Maru does continue Hellion production, we can see here that Maru is making a Marine to deny Overlord Scouts, but that will delay the add-on here. Yeah, the Marine will focus down. As we have an extra pair of Hellions on the way. Reynor behind this droning, saturating. Reynor is going to be going Lair first. So Reynor, he decides to delay his Evo Chambers and delays Baneling Nest. Ooh, and is even actually going for the earlier Roach Warren, but a really good call because Reynor, what did he see? We know it's mech. And again, it's not the first time we've seen Maru play mech. I said this before, but the first half of 2025, we saw a lot of mech out of Maru, double armory. But what did Reynor confirm? He confirmed the lack of add-ons on that racks. The fact that there were Marines and there were no add-ons, that was a big tell. That's why I brought it up. It was very suspicious. It is because it's going to be mech. So a good call out of Reynor, going for the Roach Warren. A very good call. Clutch Transfuse, keeping the drones alive. Banshee's going to be zoned away. And again, we do have that big switch into mech coming. And Reynor has an idea as to what's going on. Otherwise, he would not have gone the Roach Warren. It's back to early 2025. Let's go. Now, this is, of course, going to be the Battle Mech Banshee variation of mech, where you do commit into a heavy Banshee count and you keep making Banshees. What are the role? What's the purpose of the Banshees? Well, to harass, to deal economic damage, to shut down and punish Roach pushes, just because Roaches do not push up. Oh, sorry, they don't hit up, they don't shoot up. And these Banshees are a really strong supportive unit here for the Battle Mech army, or just the mech army in general. This is something that was popularized by TY. This was what, back in 2023? It was before he retired. It was like 2023, 2024. Before he did retire. As Reynor does poke in. It does slip in towards the main. At the same time, drones are going to be going down the Banshees. They poke in once again. Getting 3, 4 drone kills. Nice pickups. Getting it to 5. And still not yet done. And 9 more workers here in the main base. And you can see how difficult it is for the Zerg player to deal with this. Just because when you're up against mech, you're getting into Roaches, your anti-air is very limited. You have Queens to defend, but Queens are quite slow in comparison to speed Banshees. So that's going to be 8 drone kills and every Banshee survives. They do pull away. Likewise, these Banshees are not just designed to hunt down workers and to support the army, but they can also snipe Infestors. So if Reynor does go Roach Infestor, when it comes to these main pushes, the Banshees can just dive and focus down those Infestors. It's very similar to to the dynamic between High Templar and Mutas. Where Mutas, their goal is also to dive in and focus on those High Templar and deny the storm. Similar here. Again, Maru does poke in. Does threaten the Queens. Behind this, we have a Raven on the way. Hive has now begun for Reynor. Working towards the spellcasters. It does work towards them. Spires on the way for eventually Corruptors and eventually eventually Broodlord play. Now, what the scariest thing about what's happening here is that Reynor's been stuck at home. Oh, the nice round. Yeah, very nice round as Maru does overextend, losing every single Hellion. Ay, ay, ay. Big catch for Reynor. What I was about to say, though, is that Maru has been freely expanding. His 4th base is getting up. He's not going into Cyclone production. Bear that in mind. He was going Hellion tank, and the tank count is very high. So Reynor is in trouble as he's failing to slow down the economy of Maru. I mean, there's not much he can do right now. Just stuck at home, losing drones, losing gas geysers. Again, just free damage here from the Banshees. And Vipers are on the way. That will be the answer to the Banshees. Is going to be parasitic bombs. These are trying to keep up. The Vipers are slowly amassing. And Maru, he's actually pushing here right now. Okay, just before maxing out. He's going for the early push, the early timing. He's got he's got 8 tanks, 2 Thors, soon to be 5. And it's going to be difficult for Reynor to engage. Yeah, the mech army is moving in. Armor missile here on the right-hand flank. Decent blinding clouds covering the tanks. It does cover the tank. Lings are coming from behind. Hellbats are out of position. And we get a surround. Yeah, Reynor, he pulls up the surround. He barely cleans us up. Takes down every single tank. Shows the miles. Up, up. Oh my god. We get the final tank does full. And Reynor holds. Reynor, he does hold on. Bearing in mind that was a very expensive army here for Maru, losing 8 tanks across the map. That was meant to kill. That was supposed to kill. But again, Maru, he was out of position with his Hellbats. Again, he needed those Hellbats to defend against the flank. To defend against the surround. And without Maru, he's going to be forced back. What's he down to? He's down to 3 tanks and 4 Thors. Reynor can now start being active. You know, start being active. Getting into 2-2-2. Getting into all the upgrades. Now maxing out. Unfortunately, it looks like bailing speed has slipped our mind. So no bailing speed here for Reynor. That is not intentional. And hopefully, there we go. Does now start up. Lightning Cloud's going to be coming in. Oof. And Bailings, they cannot engage. Again, did forget about bailing speed. At the same time, Lings, they do come in for the counterattack. Lings, they peel off into the 3rd. SCVs will go down. More importantly, this forces the army back home. So Maru does turn around. He races back home to defend. More SCV kills. Getting up to 7. Reynor just pulling Maru apart. And Maru out of position, losing another tank. And Reynor's just trying to slow Maru down as best he can. Maru is going for that really heavy Thor composition, though. He's done with tanks, mainly Thor. Do we have Neural? The answer is no. Oh, that's a little bit scary. There is no Neural, so Infestors are not going to be really too much of a factor here. Hellbat Thor can be terrifying. And we need Neural soon. He threatens a runway. Nice abduction on the Vikings. Let's go. Takes on the Vikings. Maru, he's remaxing. He's remaxing now, and he does build up to 4 tanks, so just a handful of tanks sprinkled in. Again, mainly Thor. Thors are quite tanky. Thors, they can do well trading against Roaches as well, but we do miss Rally here. We have 3 Thors out in the open. Thankfully, Maru does pull back. She also is blinding clouds. Oh, not quite. As Maru, he reinforces. Again, a very beefy army here from Maru. Doesn't quite commit. Again, the ideal for Reynor would be to collapse to lock down the army and then mass Blinding Cloud, right? Blinding Cloud all the Thors. That is the ideal. Fusion cores on the way. We're thinking about BCs. Oh, Hellions to do wedge themselves in the mineral line. Very quick siege. Jeez. He's got advanced servos. Lings go down. Drones go down as well. Brutal damage. And even killing the expansion. The Banshees, they're still alive. Finally gonna be shut down. Going for the mass power bombs. Neural is now done. I believe there's no infestors yet. Yeah, there's no infestors, so they're just now starting up. Reynor now has a stronger army versus the Thors, or at least he soon will. 8 infestors on the way. And as we're settling down, big shout out to Sal. Este Albatry. Thank you so much, Albatry. Thanks for Sal for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. Hope you had a great time. Gracias, papi, gracias. Sorry for not giving attention at the time. There was a lot going on. But thank you, thank you. Este Sal. Looking forward to the Hapsaya show match. Money match. Kappa. Oh no. Este Sal. Armor shot goes off. Let's check on the blinding clouds. Once again, zoning back the tanks. Slowing down Maru. And to slow him down. As I mentioned before, again, Thors are very clunky and they need more support. I'm a little bit surprised to see no greater Spire yet out of Reynor. He's got the Spire ready, but he doesn't have the tech to potentially transition. For now, just going to be committing here. Committing to Lingbane, Ravager, Infestor, Viper. As Maru does claim another expansion. He's taking this linear base, pushing forward here into Reynor. Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned here. Like, this army for Reynor can do well trading and skirmishing, but in longer drawn out games, that's where Brutal Infestor is superior. To slowly just chip away at the army and be as efficient as possible. Oh, the Neurals! Finally! Can we buy them in time? Oh, it's gonna be close. Oof. Yeah, a little bit of a waste there. As there we go. The Banshees do all get cleaned up. The Queens do arrive in time. Those Banshees have just gained so much value for Maru since the beginning of the game. Finally, they fall. And Maru's perfecting his army. We spoke earlier, we did point out the Fusion Core, but now we have the Ghost Academy as well. Throwing down 4 more Raxes. Again, the ideal late game for mech, or sorry, for Terran is going to be Ghost Mech. So Ghost alongside Liberators, Tanks, Thors. See in there, nice Blinding Clouds. Does cover the Thors. Thors are covered. Neural's going to be coming in as well. Getting on top of the Thors. And Reynor, can he take the fight? He cannot. The siege line is too good. Yeah, the siege line is too strong. Reynor, he plummets in supply. And he's stuck remaxing with Lingbane. With more Lingbane Ravager. As Maru, he bled out 3 Thors and 2 tanks in that fight. He killed all 8 Infestors. No more Neurals. Does go for the dive though, comes in for the surround. Again, nice Blinding Cloud, very nice Blinding Cloud. Does cover all 3 Thors. And he'll clean this up. He'll break the forward expansion. The MVP Viper is happy. As you mentioned, Blinding Clouds, they do so well here against the Thors. If you can lock them down. And we see Maru switching to Liberators. Switching to Libs, Tanks, Thors. Maru, he does take a fresh base top left, but can he actually hold on to that expansion? Reynor, he wants it. Does get us around. And it should fall. Yeah, there's no room to repair. SCVs, they cannot engage, and the planetary does get picked up. And that's pick up out of Reynor. Comes in from behind. Going for the other planetary, and Maru's just being torn apart. He's just being torn apart here. Losing base after base. Maru just cannot keep up. He doesn't have the supply to keep up, I should emphasize. And it's all just snowballing out of control. After that one big engagement, after the one big fight, it takes so long to rebuild that mech army. It takes so long, Pappy. Now he's got an orbital, not a planetary. Now the question becomes, can Maru slow the game down? Can he slow the game down? He still has plenty of potential expansions, still plenty of resources. He's trying to turtle up. Now we have Ghost in the mix as well. Maru keeps clearing the tanks, Reynor. He does clear the tanks, more importantly the Thors as well. I would say that unfortunately the Ghosts came out a little bit too late. The Ghosts are now a part of the army, that's true, but if the Ghosts were available a little bit earlier, they would have been available to EMP, right? Like EMP would have been the counter to the Viper to stop all the blinding clouds. Speaking of, they continue. Sending back the army. This time not able to engage as now there are Liberators in the mix. So Maru does hold. Does hold on. There's the Greater Spire now on the way. Maru now thinking about Broodlords. Sorry, Reynor not thinking about Broodlords. I mean, maybe Maru is as well. True, true. Whether it's EMP, snipes, a higher Viking count as well, which is often the case. To zone away the Vipers. As Maru, he has remaxed. As I mentioned, he was able to turtle up, tighten up, rebuild, remax. Now with a more efficient army, instead of just purely tank Thor, now we have tank Thor, Ghost Liberator. But once again, Maru's out of position. Another mineral line goes down. Reynor, he finds a way in. Maru's down to 29 SCVs. He's down to a 1 base economy. I mean, mules are a thing, true. Mules back. And you could also argue this might in a way benefit Maru, especially because of how high his orbital count is and how many mules he has. But Maru does have a supermax army. Ooh, that's a lot of banelings and they did not kill the tank. Not worth it. As Reynor does keep going for counterattacks. He wants those Liberators. Gets one. Not even. Very nice on siege. Quick moves out of Maru. Retaking bottom right. This time we have the abductions. Toss on those Liberators. The base is denied. Not many SCVs to kill. Toss on the expansion. Pushing further in. Opening up the center of the map. And remember, Reynor, he can afford to trade like this. He's losing a lot of Ling Bane here, but he has a massive bank to work with. Perfectly fine. The concerning thing about Ling Bane Roach Ravager that we were trying to emphasize earlier was that this doesn't really scale too well into a longer game if they stop dealing damage like this. Like, it's a very mobile composition to go in, to harass, to break down bases. If that starts to fail, then things can very quickly swing in favor of the Terran. But Reynor's been successful. Knocking down planetary after planetary. Reynor now pulling back. Again, still working on those upgrades in case he does need to eventually take into Broodlords. Working on +2. And how many Vipers do we have? 3. Not many actually. 3 Vipers. Reynor, he's... Oh, calm down. Trying to pull the trigger. Reynor has like 12 bases. Bearing in mind that Reynor hasn't taken any important bases yet. Mass snipes, very nice. They're punishing the queens. Lingbane rolls in, catching out three ghosts. Most of them do get away. Better engage here for Maru. What's important is that bottom right and center right are untouched, and same with, in a way, center left, which was Maru's base. But when it comes to a split map scenario like this means that Maru, he has 3 bases available to him. Oh! This means they don't quite catch up the ghosts. A couple of ghosts go down. Nice. Better fight here once again. Maru, he does break through. Breaks through, takes down the expansion, and this is scary. So for Reynor to keep up with Maru, he needs one of these center bases, whether it's center left or center right. Remember, he needs to be up in expansion. He needs more resources. Maru does have the more efficient army. And if Maru can deny this center expansion and make sure that Reynor never takes these bases, then Maru can eventually just outtrade and overwhelm. Again, the higher base count and the higher bank for Reynor doesn't really matter here, because technically the bank for Maru is here. Like this is his bank. Bottom right, center right. These resources belong to Maru. They're his. And now he's taking Reynor's bases. Or at least denying them. So this is a really scary moment for Reynor. Reynor is now switching into Broodlords. He's going into Broodlord Infestor. Was he stuck on Lingbane Roach Ravager too long? That's my concern. This is a very late switch, and because the switch is so late, Reynor doesn't have a bank. We spoke about this earlier, but Broodlord Infestor is a much more efficient composition, much more efficient. Lingbane Roach Ravager is worth it if you're knocking down bases, and to be fair, Reynor was until the very end. Knocking down expansions. Reynor's now trying to double expand himself. Reynor's taking both center expansions, but I don't see him holding on to one of them. As Broodlords are moving in, they do reveal themselves. There's 11 ghosts. And Maru's at least aware of the location of the Broodlords. They're not very mobile, so the idea of them rotating to the right-hand side is very low. What's important as Reynor applies pressure on the left is that this also allows him to expand on the right-hand side, as he's drawing the army to the left-hand side as well. There's the scan. Maru, he knows he has to engage. As we mentioned, his win condition is deny that center base. Deny the base. Meanwhile, the right-hand flank is exposed. Nice run by. Yeah, nice run by. Nice counterattack. Maru's out of position. And on the one hand, Maru, he does take down that expansion, but what's important here is that now that Reynor denies this center expansion, he can even go for a right here on the right-hand side as well. He's going for it. Yeah, he's going for the planetary. Maru cannot afford to lose this. He needs this expansion. Nice target firing. And that target firing SCV is going to be going down, losing 21 SCVs. Yeah, heavy losses here for Maru. And sure, Maru, he killed a hatchery, but this was still a better trade for Reynor, as Reynor was able to take down and deny 2 mineral lines. Oh, Snipe's coming in. Gets a Broodlord. Now Maru's done a decent job at splitting up his army. Previously, he had too much committed on the left-hand side, and now he only has his ghosts here, and he pushes on the right. And he denies both center expansions. So Reynor, he'll lose center right and center left. You can still argue that Maru comes out on top in this trade. You can see Reynor building up and perfecting his army. 4 more Broodlords. Gonna have up to 18. 18 Broodlords, 8 Infestors. It's still going to be a very clutch and intense main fight. It'll come down to the fungals. It'll come down to the neurals. It'll come down to the EMPs. True. Ideally, Reynor, he needs to fungal those ghosts to stop their snipes. If he fails to land that fungal, then the game can just end. Maru can dominate, but again, that's a lot of infestors. Maru slowly pushing forward. Main armies are about to clash. Where are the ghosts? I was about to say. Yeah, the ghosts are a little bit late to the party, but they're coming. I spoke too soon. They're being kept busy. Reynor, he knows that the ghost won't be a part of this, at least not initially. Gets one. Gets a Thor, gets a tank. But Maru is slowly pushing forward. I'm still not fond of the idea of the ghost not being a part of this. I'll be honest. So far, Maru is gaining ground. He's slowly gaining ground here. He's within range of the expansion. He should be forcing the Broodlords to engage. At the same time, Reynor, if he can get us over those ghosts. Tempted. Goes to the mineral line. Yeah, 17 SCVs go down. Nice harassment. Jesus, the mule hammer. The power of the mule, pappy. Who needs SCVs? Aye, aye, aye. And Maru does get the expansion. Takes down the base. We do see a Reynor repositioning. Takes down the tank. Gets one. Almost two. Yeah, Thor gets caught out. Thor was on A move. Nice pick off here by Reynor. And Maru does rotate everything to the right hand side. Okay, does consolidate his army. Once again, the mules. And again, Maru doesn't have to push any further. Again, it's all about denying the center bases. Rotates, kills the hatchery, pulls away, rotates, kill the hatchery, pull away. Oh, there's an opening. Tanks are exposed. Maru's out of position. Gets one, gets two tanks for free. Very nice pickles here by Reynor. Very nice. Broodlord still shocking around. They get another tank. Now, this is where the game is kind of catching up to Reynor a little bit, which is concerning. So, I mentioned earlier how Maru, he has a massive bank to work with, right? He has these two bases that belong to Maru, and he's gathering those resources as we speak. Because Reynor has failed to mine from these center bases, now, once these bases start mining out for Maru, he can start to take Reynor's expansions. And that's what's happening here. This is huge. This is Maru winning this game. As he's taking resources away from Reynor. Hellions, they threaten to dive. Oh my god. Barely don't get in. But Reynor, he's in trouble. Maru pushing further in, using this as a launch point. Pushing to the natural. Broodlords are out of position. Distracted by the Hellions. And again, Broodlords are so slow. This might even prompt a base trade. As Maru, he can just push in. He can just walk into the he just walk into the natural, kill the hive, walk into the main base, get the greater spire. He can just walk in back. As Broodlords, they're racing back home. That's a lot of Broodlords, true. It's a lot of Broodlords. As they turn around, the Hellbats, they come back. Going for the hatchery. Because Maru's taking... He's hunting. No, there's no detection. No, the snipes. 3, 4. Oh my god, almost 5. You have 5 Broodlords get caught. The fungal though! Oh my god, the punish! The fungals do punish. This was worth it here for Reynor. Cashing out almost every single ghost. Ay, ay, ay. Maru, he got too greedy, pap. He got too greedy. He got 6 Broodlords for 8 ghosts. At the same time, Lings are counter-attacking, distracting. Trying to buy time. So we're getting messy. We're getting messy. As Reynor, he still has 15 Broodlords. Meanwhile, Maru, he's replacing all those ghosts. Now, the scariest thing here is the Greater Spire, right? All the tech. The Hive was just sniped. The Greater Spire is under fire as well. And Reynor, he has no bank. He has no bank, he has no drones. Unlike Maru, Reynor, he has no mules. So Reynor's economy is very, very stifled. It's barely there. And it looks like Maru's done it. Like, sure, Reynor still has a big army to work with. I mean, even then, though, like, Reynor, he's lost his tech, he's lost his economy, and he has lost his army. And Maru is, again, taking bases that otherwise did belong to Reynor. Reynor's got one fight. He's got one fight in him. So one Hail Mary play, Pappy. So he lost everything in the bases. When it comes to his tech, I believe Reynor has nothing. Yeah, I mean, he has no money. So Reynor, if you're curious about his structures, he has the infestation bit that's slowly bleeding out and hatcheries. He has no spawning pool, no roach warren, no spire, no nothing. Reynor cannot make anything. But on top of that, Reynor, he has no money anyway. So that's why, like, Reynor, he's got one fight. He's got one fight in him. The only thing Reynor's making is infestors because the only tech structure he has is the infestation pit. That's all he has left. Reynor's broke. And again, why is Reynor broke? Because Maru's win condition was deny the bases. Remember, deny center left, deny center right. That's all you got to do. Deny those bases until that you can take them yourself. Imagine if the infestation was killed. Like, thankfully, at least again, Reynor can make more infestors. He's building up to 21 infestors, soon to be 23. Scan does reveal the mass infestor army. A couple of well-placed EMPs will completely shut this down. And I'm sure Maru's tempted. He keeps scanning. Ghost, they lead the charge. Yeah, Broodlords are coming in. They're at least trying to. Yeah, but Reynor, he just cannot engage. Not into this. We got too much freedom. There goes. He wants the EMP. Oh, lands one. Yeah, lands one EMP. Gets a snipe off as well. Gets an infestor. That was just one ghost. Ah. He's going to do it again. He's doing it again here. Another EMP lands. And he's going for it. He commits. Yeah, he moves in into tank fire. Massive tank shots going off. The infestors, they get punished. Yeah, infestors are punished. Infestors are denied. Ghosts are moving forward. Snipes going off on the Broodlords. And with that, Reynor, he'll lose everything. The Broodlords are going down one after the other. He tries to engage. He tries to break through. But GG gets called. And Maru, he will take game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. As Maru does take a lead in the series. Again, Reynor, he had a stronger mid-game, but if you recall, we had our concerns about the mid-game. If you recall, we were talking about how is Reynor staying on a low-tech army for too long. And at the time, it was okay, like staying on Lingbane Ravager, as we mentioned, it's okay if you're knocking down bases, right? If you're knocking down expansions, getting into mineral lines, then it is worth it to stay on that kind of army. But eventually, he was outscaled, right? He was outscaled. He had a later switch into Broodlord Infestor, and because of that, we saw that Maru was able to stabilize. We tried to emphasize it didn't really matter that Maru was losing these bases as long as it was able to retake them eventually, right? Like it's kind of like a slower, more macro view of the game, where like it doesn't matter that Reynor is up in expansions. That's not really much of a factor here. What matters is, can he ensure that Maru can't expand himself and maintain his own economy, which Maru did. Maru, he was able to take bottom right, he was able to take center left as well. Was able to build up and of course perfect his army, getting into Ghost Mech, right? Get into that perfect composition. GG, well played. And with that, we're now getting to game number 2. We'll see if Reynor can bounce back. We'll see if Maru can extend his lead. So we load into game number 2, gonna be on Winter Madness. Here we go. Spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Team Vitality, leading the series 1-0. It is Maru. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the Italian Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing Basilisk. It is Reynor. Let's go. Wow, Reynor's poor, Maru did it. Yeah, as we were, that's why during the game itself, as we're opening up 2x Reaper, we were trying to emphasize, once the game slows down into a macro late game, like split map scenario, what matters most is those center expansions. And the fact that Reynor couldn't take them and that he was behind. Like Reynor, he was behind for like the second half of that game. As you mentioned, as soon as he lost the fight on the right hand side, as soon as he got pushed back and punished for his Ling Ravager, and Maru was able to just like perfect his army into that Ghost Mech composition, it was like, no, yeah, like Maru, he's in control of this. But here we go. Here we go. It is going to be 2x Reaper out of Maru. Behind this, we could go into a third Rax, but for the time being here, just going for an aggressive start. Remember, this is not an all-in. This is not an all-in. It's a way to be aggressive. It's a way to apply pressure. And what I'm most curious about is the follow-up. Now, what's important here is that 2x Reaper typically leads into a CC and typically leads into a 2-1-1. But we have seen both Maru and Bjorn mess around with 2x Reaper into mech. Like, they have been messing around with that. It is designed to catch your opponent off guard and to catch them with their pants down. So that's also something in the back of my mind, is the potential mech follow-up, which sounds crazy, but it's meant to be inefficient. It's meant to catch your opponent like unawares. For now, Reynor did open pool first. So pool first opener out of Reynor. Lings, they move out across the map. Reynor, he is not aware as to what's happening. He doesn't know what he's up against, and I will say these Lings should be punished. Yeah, Reaper's revealed. Oh, Reynor, he avoids the Reaper. Okay, nice move. Avoids the Reaper, and Reynor, he might be able to delay the CC. It's gonna be close. Yeah, Maru moves in, confirms the expansion. Lings, they do hit the natural, and can they even force a cancel? Reaper does race back home to defend. SCV's under fire. We'll lose one. One SCV goes down. A nice start for Reynor. Is a nice start. And this also gives time, right? This is also giving Reynor a little bit more time here. He pulls out a gas. It is not uncommon to see like a Bane Bust follow-up after a 2x Reaper, as Maru is going for a very fast third CC. So again, 2x Reaper into a natural, into a third CC. Very greedy follow-up here from Maru. He's getting his tech lab. And this should be a 3cc 2-on-1. It should be. Eyes on Maru. Yeah, stim begins. Okay, stim does begin. Technically, we could go for like a third or fourth Rax behind this, but after a third CC, like, it should just be standard. Nice control out of Maru. Ooh, we'll lose one Reaper. One Reaper goes down. And what's important is that Maru, it's not about going in and killing workers, it's about containing. Reynor doesn't have a third. Very late third base for Reynor. So Reynor, his own mid game is going to be weaker. His own economy is weaker as well. As he's now looking to expand. The Reapers, they deny the third base. Ay, ay, ay. Reynor, he just wants a third. Oh, meanwhile, Maru wants a queen. Ling's aiming for this round. Nice catch. Oh, the KDA charge does allow for 3 Reapers to barely get away. And Maru, he slips out. A lesser player would have lost all 4 Reapers there. Does pull back home, and Reynor can finally expand. There's a 420 third base timing. Like, that's... We can finally get an expansion. Now, because this third base is so late, this 2-on-1 should be hitting even harder. We could even see Maru. It's not uncommon to see Maru go for a greedy build into an 8-Rax. So we'll keep an eye on his Raxes, we'll keep an eye on his tech. As again, the Reapers, they're being cleaned up. They're finally being shut down. Meanwhile, Maru behind this is working towards that reactor to medevac production. Medevacs are on the way. Oh, and do you see what I see? Mech. And do you remember what we said at the very beginning of this game, actually, talking about how it's not uncommon for Bjorn and Maru to go for a 2-Rax Reaper opener into mech as a follow-up to catch their opponent off guard? We're kind of seeing that here. Double factory, faster armory as well for Hellbats. I mean, I say for Hellbats, there are no Hellions whatsoever, actually. Just switching into mech. That also explains why there's only one eBay. True, true. But the validation. But again, like, we've seen Maru do this quite commonly. I'm sure that this is also in the back of Reynor's mind. This is the downside of going for this a little bit too often after the 2-Rax Reaper opener, is that your opponent should be getting used to that and should be a little bit more aware of that. The first time it happens, it's like a crazy, like, out of left field build. Here, less so. Oh, no, sorry, this is not mech. He canceled the tank. Right? No, sorry, he got one. He got one tank. He's going into Drilling Claws as a follow-up. This, if you remember, we saw... Actually, the last time they played, we saw this during Maru versus Reynor at Thunderfire, where he's going into Drilling Claws, and he's actually going into mid-game Widowmine drops, which is almost never seen in TVZ. You used to see this a little bit against Protoss, but this is something unique that Maru's been doing this year. That's why I mentioned Thunderfire. Thunderfire was in January. Ooh, oh god, the Lings get out of hand. Oh my god, 14 SCVs. Yeah, the mineral line goes down. Massive pickups back at home. Reynor does defend, and Maru completely out of position. 15 workers go down. That should not have happened. Aye, aye, aye. Before we can get into the mass Drilling Claw, like, drop play, like, Maru's economy is stifled. He gets punished for his double drop. He also gets punished for not having Hellions either, true. This downside of going into mass Widowmine. And here comes the drop play. We got one drop on the left, one drop on the top side. Again, we already saw this previously against Reynor back in January. And Reynor, I'm sure, is more aware of this as a result. Now, this is a pretty big investment from Maru to go for the second factory this quickly, and to invest into Drilling Claws. So far, it has not been worth it. Nice splits, nice reactions. And so far, 2 drone kills. Oh, potential here in the natural. Getting 2 more, 4 in total. Denying mining time. And the drop play continues. Remember, we're not gonna stop. We're still making more medevacs and more widow mines. Now, the problem is that this does add up over time. Like, it's pretty expensive to keep doing this, and if you fail to get damage done, then it's not really too worth it here. But here we go. The mine drops, they continue. Again, can he make it work? Jesus. Yeah, it does pull away in time. I spoke too soon. 16 drones go down. Oh no, here, yeah, 16 workers do go down in the end. Maru does catch him off guard. No mine show in the main base, but that now is worth it. Oh no. As we get 3 more, so 3 more drones go down. Nice retargeting, 24 kills. Ay, ay, ay. It's adding up. It's not worth it. The drops continue. They're still going out. One of mine almost resets here at the 3rd base. Boosting in towards the natural. This time Reynor, he's locking in, paying attention. Kills the medevac. Oh my god. Close. We're still going. And again, I would say that this was wasteful if Maru didn't just kill 25 drones. Right, that's what's important here. Did kill 25. We just keep dropping. And he just kept dropping back. And more Widow Mines on the way. But now we built up into Hydras. Widow Mines drop into the mineral line. Nice connections. 5 drones. Ooh. Yeah, 5, 6 drones go down. Another drop towards the left-hand side. The drops continue. Are we hitting diminishing returns? Maybe. I don't know. Just because now there are Hydras, right? Now there are Hydras, now there are Vipers, now there's a better answer here to the mine drops. And Maru should calm down, but he's still going. I feel like at this point we need to calm down and back up. But he's not stopping. Drawing back in. Reynor, he does pull away. Good reactions. 3 drones. 3 drones go down. Reynor does react well. Mine drops, they just keep going. They keep going. And I guess the other added benefit here, as you're kind of seeing, isn't just the damage that's been done, as mine drops don't quite connect. Another drop on the left-hand side. But this is also making sure that Reynor is stuck at home. Reynor has not moved out at all this entire game, except for that Ling run by earlier that killed 15 SCVs. But outside of that run by, Reynor, he's been stuck at home. And Maru's getting a 4th. Maru's getting a 4th base. Massive mine connection on Zerglings. 13 drones going down. Ay, ay, ay. Another 13 drone kills. And Maru's maxing. He's maxing out. Getting to his bio army. +3. 3's on the way. Ghosts are on the way. It's all just been keeping Reynor busy. And now the drop play ends. Now the drop play has concluded. And in the end, it was worth it for Maru. It was worth it. Just because of the game state that we're currently in. Maru's getting a 5th. He's getting a 5th expansion. Crazy big power spike for Maru. Getting up to 5 bases. Building up into mass bio into Ghost. Maru has almost perfected his army. I mean, he's getting there. And Reynor can still engage as good as Ling Main Hydra. Might just get baited. So Reynor's looking for another way in. Yeah, Maru, you can see him already preemptively evacuates. Understanding that most likely he will lose the planetary. Again, this space is just so open, so exposed. Planetary goes down. And Banelings, can they get on top of the bio? Nice splits. Very nice split, very nice spread. Maru holds. Or he does hold on. There's no other counterattack at the same time. There's no other run by. Maru does defend. And now we can secure this position. Sensor tower, planetary, CC. And this is a big scary moment for Reynor. Typically, the Zerg player wants to fight for the 4th and fight for the 5th base of the Terran. Or I should say the Terran wants to fight for their bases. And you can see that's kind of happening here, but for the most part, Maru's 4th base is completely secure, so Maru, he can remax. He can build up his bank, he can max out. Reynor's in a really rough position, especially because he's stuck on Ling Main Hydra. This is actually very similar to last game, actually, where we were a little bit concerned about Reynor being stuck on Ling Main Roach, Ling Main Roach Ravager, where it doesn't really scale well into a longer game. It's similar here, where Ling Main Hydra can do amazing when it comes to its maneuverability, right? It's a very mobile composition, and you can catch an army in the center of the map, you can rotate back and forth to the top side, to the south side, and knock down bases. But the moment you stop knocking down bases, then you fall behind. So Reynor's going for the planetary. Can he get it? Ghosts are coming in. Landing cloud on the planetary does go down. Yeah, nice pick off. There we go. Nice pick off. Planetary falls. 17 SCVs as well. And Reynor, he needs to keep doing this. Just like last game. He needs to keep denying these bases. If he starts failing to do so, then again, he'll just be outscaled. Just be outscaled. So he has to back off, rebuild his Bane, and then go for this planetary. But the problem is that now we're so much more entrenched here. Now there's more SimCity, a tank line, Widow Mines, another expansion's on the way. Again, I'm concerned that Reynor, this army, it's already just running out of its longevity. It's already expiring. But let's go. Okay, does find a couple of free tanks are on their own. Gets 1, 2, potentially 3 tanks. 4? 3. Okay, 3 tanks go down. There we go. Gets a 4th, gets a 5th. Very nicely done here. Very nice run by. All these tanks were exposed. Oh, Palings they crash into bio as well. Messy defense out of Maru. And suddenly, okay, this is working. Reynor, he's pulling this off. He's building up more Bane. We're gonna keep doing that. We're gonna catching out tanks, catching out bases, catching Maru out of position. Ideally, Reynor would have some tech behind this. The fact that he doesn't is a little bit concerning. Whether it's an Ultra Cavern or whether it's a Spire and a Greater Spire. Reynor is completely devoted here to Bane Hydra. Really trying to commit. Massive tank shots going off. Snipes as well on the Hydras. Oof. Yeah, snipes they punish. And Reynor, that was a lot of losses here. He does land 1 Baneling connection here on the right hand side. Does catch some ghosts. Gets 1. When I say some, he got 1 ghost. 1 ghost went down. Did catch a couple of tanks. Maru, he does hold on. We got a nuke on the way as well. Nice catch on the Banelings. So far, nice tanking. Nice tanking out of Maru. Reynor at the same time going for a run by. There is no planetary. The base is exposed. Nice run by. Wings, they slip in. There's 9 mining. SCV is going to be going down. Bane collapsing on top of the Ghost. The Ghost, they do barely slip away. Hot pickup. Yeah, nice control. Better control here from Maru. He's breaking through. Reynor, he's running out of Bane. And he has to get the hell out of here. He has to pull away. He has to respect those Ghosts. Yeah, mass snipe on the Queens. The expansion is going to go down. Massive pick up here for Maru. There's only 1 Baneling. It connects, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, just the 1 Baneling. Nice power bomb here out of Reynor. Getting a lot of value. Ghost, they pull away. And Reynor, he barely doesn't have enough here. He's lost too many Hydras. The Viper, no, get out of here. Viper pulls back. Maru does get the expansion. And Reynor's in trouble. It's similar to what we had previously in that previous game state, where Reynor, he is unable to take the center bases. Does have a bank, though. He can afford to replenish his Bane Hydra for now. And it's all about Reynor ensuring that these fringe bases don't get up and running for Maru. Meanwhile, technically, Maru doesn't have to really worry about the fringe expenses of Reynor. It's all about denying the center bases to make sure that they can eventually become Marus. So again, center left and center right. These 2 bases are kind of like the pivotal expansions. Reynor does try to commit. Going through the choke point, nice biting cloud. Tanks are late to siege. They're late to siege up, but Banelings are still being punished. They do connect with the tanks. Not ideal. Again, Maru was late to set up. Now going to be incorporating Liberators. You can definitely argue that Reynor overextended pushing through that choke point. Nice opposition micro. Being as annoying as possible. Maru moving in. Once again, forcing the arm to engage into a choke point. Oh, massive tank shots. And again, Reynor here overextends. We cannot push through that ramp. It's not gonna happen. Base goes down, that's a kill, not a cancel. Oh my god, massive fungal though. Yeah, very nice fungal. Catches at the buyer, the ghosts all do get away. That was the only infestor. That was the only infestor. And it was a nice engage there from Reynor, but he still lost the expansion. And ooh, Maru's taking his own. This is a scary moment. Reynor, he cannot let these bases get up and running. He can't let it happen. Oh, the Mule Hammer. Reynor's getting one more Infestor once again. I believe that's the only one. Yep, just one Infestor. Lings, they move in. They do catch a tank. Nice rotation. Getting one, getting two, getting three tanks. 3 tanks go down. Lings, they flood into the mineral line. Again, this area has just been very vulnerable, very fragile. And Reynor does punish. Now, what's important here as he gets 11 SCVs is now that he takes down this expansion, Reynor can take top right and center right. He's taking these 2 expansions. Oh, that's still not good enough. So even if Reynor takes these 2 bases, if Reynor can't take center left, then Reynor's still behind. Like Reynor needs to be up an expansion over his opponent. In the long run, I mean, like when it comes to like the overall amount of resources available to you in the late game. Shots going up. Ling Bane collapsing in. A bit of an awkward engage here out of Reynor, bleeding out a lot of Ling Bane. Yeah, that was not worth it. As Maru does bully him back. And takes over the center expansion. Oh. He does take it to the space. On the one hand, yes, Maru, he fails to take or sustain center right. Base on the right hand side. But there are 2 fresh bases here for Maru. 2 fully fresh bases with a high yield gas geyser as well, which is untouched. True. Untouched gas geyser. Reynor, he barely mined through this from this expansion. As Reynor, he has to collapse in. Does binding cloud on one of the tanks. Fungal as well. Ooh, massive fungal. There goes. He gets 5. 5, 6 goes to down. Massive connections. Massive catch for Reynor. And again, Maru completely out of position. He was dragged over towards the right hand side. He was distracted. And Maru was distracted. And that was a big moment here for Reynor. He caught the ghost and he denied the expansion. Big win. In my mind it was 6, it was 8. Wow, 8 ghosts going down. Expensive losses for Maru. And Reynor has momentum. He has momentum, he has a lead. We're back in this kind of scenario where as long as Reynor can deny this center expansion from Maru, then he can take a lead himself. The Infestor's back. What's crazy, what we've been seeing so far out of Reynor is that... Oh, no, he knows. Oh no! That was so unfortunate. I was so unlucky for Reynor. What I was going to say is that Reynor, we've seen 2 massive fungals this game so far, and it's always been with only 1 infestor. Like, he makes it count. Rotates bottom left, 17 SCVs go down. And Reynor, he has momentum, he has control of the game. He's taken a lead. And Maru is struggling. He's struggling here. Now, can Maru stabilize? He can, but he's a ways away from doing so. And Viper's getting called out. Lane Bane collapsing in. And Maru's out of position. Out of position. Pappy racing on over. Does deal with most of Ling Bane, actually. And not a bad trade out of Maru, but it was still a trade. That's the difficult thing here. Is a Reynor, he can afford to trade it efficiently. Can afford it. Once again, you can see Maru rotate all of his ghosts to the right hand side. He's anticipating a counterattack here on the right, but that also means that if Reynor pushes on the left, then the ghosts are not here to defend. Good call. Okay, it was worth it. Reynor keeping up with it. Sorry, Maru keeping up with the tempo of Reynor. As he did call the run by correctly. And now we can race over. So good call by Maru. Let's go. So now joined up with the main force. Reynor, now we're taking up a hive. The hive has been done, of course, but now we have Lurker Den, Spire, Greater Spire. Ling Rambai does come in. This time Maru's out of position. He assumed that the Rambais had ended. Or he assumed there was like more of a focus on the rotation. Gets a tank. Tank goes down. You know what, Ghost thankfully they just stick around. Reynor coming in, massive fungal once again. It does land the fungal, Ghosts get caught, and the base is denied. And once again denies the expansion. Oh, doesn't denies mining for a moment, but does not kill the base though. Okay. Doesn't kill the CC. You want that into the main base. Maru, he's very much so spread thin. Can they react to this in time? As we have 9 lurkers on the way. The lunkers are coming. Oh my god. Flush defense. Flush defense. Following the ghost once again, they do rotate back to the left hand side. Maru is retaking those center bases. Reynor taking one of Maru's expansions. Okay, cheeky move. We'll see if he can get that up and running. Oh, Nidus on top of the tank. Maru, he doesn't notice. He doesn't notice the Nidus. Remember, there are 9 lurkers. Yeah, lurkers are in the Nidus. They will finish. Massive move here. He takes over the production. And that might just be the aim. that might just be it here. Tank goes down. Marines go down. The production's being camped. And Maru, he cannot push back in. Yeah, he cannot push into the main base. This should all be forfeits. I mean, he can always lift, but this is a big loss here for Maru. Yeah, the Great Migration forced to lift up. 1 Nidus. Times is all it takes. Alright, again, forced to evacuate. Oh, we'll eventually work through this. Now, what surprised me here, and I guess it's partially because we made all these lurkers, is every lurker is going to go down. Oh god, Jesus. Is Reynor's bank. But for now, does commit in, takes out a planetary. Planetary goes down, massive pickup. We got some decent connections here on the bio army as well. Decent connections. But I'm referring to the bank. Reynor, he has no gas. Reynor, what is his gas income looking like? So he's running out here, running out here. He's got 2 gases top right. He's got the high yield gas geyser, and he's got 1 gas on the left hand side as well. So limited gas income. He needs to take his gases here on the northern bases, as Reynor is gas starved. And again, you can see Reynor, he's mining out. He's starting to mine out from his expansions, even top right. That's why this Maru base is so important, as Reynor's taking resources away from Maru. Taking them away from him. Brutal connection. Fun fact, if you're looking at this and you're like, where are all the Banelings? There are no Banelings because Reynor doesn't have any gas. That's why it's mainly Ling here. Barely any Banelings. You can see 14 Banelings more Finn, and Reynor immediately, he's out of gas. That was all the gas he had left. Now expanding again on the right hand side. I do like this triple drop. Assuming that Maru's headed towards this expansion.
Base is under attack.
Again, I do think it's crucial that he doesn't mind mining. At the same time, Reynor is also in position here as well. He knows how important this base is. Technically, Reynor can now give up on this expansion because there's no value, right? There's no value in this expansion. So Reynor can focus his attention here on the right-hand side. Scan reveals gas mining as well. Maru knows. And Maru, he has to make a decision. Again, Maru, he still has so much of a supply entrenched here on the left-hand side, but this area doesn't matter anymore. At least not to Reynor. And it matters for Maru, as like these are the mining bases for Maru, but now he's fully walled up. It's fully walled up. The scary thing here is that Maru's remaxing, and remember, he's remaxing with a super maxed army. We've been here before. We spoke about this last game, and we even spoke about this earlier this game as well. The fact that Reynor staying on this kind of army is fine if he can deny the bases. And he was, right? He was killing these 2 expansions, like, what, 6 different times? Like, there was some big moments here. That has ended. Like, that has ended. Now we have a full wall on the left-hand side, and now we have a siege line as well on the ramp as well, on the high ground. Reynor can now not touch these bases, and now he's stuck on Lingbane Hydra. So I'm concerned for Reynor. I'm concerned. Infestor comes in from behind, gets caught out. Another one coming in from the top side. Fungal does land on mainly Bio. Banelings, they crash on into the tanks. Can he get on top of the ghost though? He's going for the dive. He's going for it. Oh my god, resets the tank count, a decent engage here by Reynor, and he protects his base. More importantly, he protects the expansion. Takes the fight. Didn't kill any ghosts. True. That is concerning. Didn't kill any ghosts. And Reynor's mining out. This is still a fresh gas geyser, by the way. Like, it's still untouched. But we're running out of minerals. So Reynor's running out. And again, he's running out of minerals, and he's stuck with the mid-tier army. Like, or he's stuck with a very expensive army. I say expensive. It's something you need an economy to sustain it. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. It's an army built to be replaced. And if we can't replace it, then what do we have? As Reynor's now switching into Broodlords, but this is so late. It's a late decision now to switch into Broodlords. I don't know how many Broodlords can actually be made here. So far we have 6, 7. Maru's pushing in. Reynor, he has to fight for this. He cannot abandon this expansion. Broodlords coming in, distracting Maru. Okay. Nice pick up for the Broodlords. Tanks are going down. Maru pushing in. Can he break this position? He's clumped up. He's clumped. Oh my god. Bailey's a smash on in. Where are the ghosts, by the way? Ghosts are defending. Oh my god. The ghosts, they're putting in some work. The ghosts, they punish the Broodlords. Planetary's getting low. There's a repair. Fungal doesn't land. Massive snipes. And Maru defends. Maru, he cleans up every single Broodlord. That's 7 Broodlords going down. EMP on the Infestors. No more Fungals. And with that, Maru, he shuts down a very expensive army from Reynor. 1 Broodlord survives. And Reynor's broke. Reynor's broke. Collapsing in, getting us up with the tanks. No support here for the army. I say no support, there's what, 4 Marines. And here come the ghosts. Yeah, Maru's done it. Maru, he breaks Reynor. He breaks the army. GG gets called. And Maru, he will take a 2-0 lead in the series. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Game 1 and Game 2 looking very similar here as Maru does take a 2-0 lead. But what happened in both games? In both games, Reynor was stuck on a mid-tier army for a very long time. So efficiency was not on his side. I'll say the one difference this game was that Reynor did successfully take one of Maru's bases. True. So he had a bit of a boosted economy here compared to previously. But again, he was still stuck on Ling, Bane, Hydra. We saw the attempted switch into Broodlords before that, towards the end of the game. But it was only 7 Broodlords, and we saw that they had no support themselves. They got caught out by the ghost. GG, well played. With that, the Broodlords got shut down, the Infestors got shut down, and Reynor, he had nothing left. He was out of money, out of resources, out of steam. GG, well played. Whew. Maru, he does extend his lead in the series, and Reynor, he's, after what happened in these first 2 games, I feel like we have to go back to the drawing board a little bit, referring to how we're approaching the late game. Again, we've been stuck and staying on this more mobile composition for, it feels like, too long. Obviously, retrospectively, like, we can look at it and we can be like, oh, clearly, like, we switched too late into a higher tier army. Like, clearly that happened. But in the moment, like, you're doing damage, especially this game, for example. Reynor, he was doing well knocking down bases, but there was a moment where we noticed that stopped, right? There was a moment that we noticed, like, hold on, Reynor's no longer killing expansions, he's no longer killing planetaries. Maru now secured the bases on the left hand side. This is clearly, like, stopped working, right? Like, it's not working anymore. Like, we got to get out of this. Yeah. But GG, well played. With that, Maru takes a 2-0 lead in the series. Now we're getting into game number 3. Let's go. Meanwhile, big shout to Sian. Sian in the chat. Thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great cast. I'm assuming there was a cast. Obrigado. Thank you. As we're getting into game number 3, and spawning in the top right hand corner of White Rabbits, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Team Vitality. It is Maru. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Zerg player. With the red Zerg player himself, we have the Italian Zerg representing Basilisk. It is Reynor. Let's go. Just catching up. I thought Reynor thought Broodlords were irrelevant. I don't know what Reynor's thoughts or what he said about that, but Broodlords are a big part of late game. Oh, hello. They're a big part of late game TVZ. As you've seen both in game 1 and game 2, Reynor eventually tried getting there, but the decision to tech up and to tech out and to try to build up into Broodlord Infestor, I feel like in both games was made a little bit too late. As we said, as I tried to emphasize, like, you know, we can, of course, we can see everything ourselves, and we we have that advantage, of course, to see when things stop working. But at the same time, again, it does feel like Reynor has been tunnel visioning a little bit too much with this more active style. Whereas Maru, he's one of the best turtle players out there, right? Like, when it comes to turtling up and just like defending, you don't get better than Maru. Like, that is where Maru has like the edge up over Clem, for example. When Maru has some of the best turtle play in the world, or the best. So it's bold for Reynor to try to break him. And at times it was working, to be fair. Like, it was working for a time until it wasn't. But here we go. Here we go. This time we have a standard opener out of Maru going for a Rax Expand. This time there's no CC first, and this time there's no 2 Rax Reaper. Let's go. Speaking Portuguese, fala galera, baby, fala galera. Ay, ay, ay. Yes, much love to Sian, much love. As Maru does poke in, pokes in, pulls away, does pick off 1 Zergling. Which is part both Maru and Reynor felt like they had a closing lead, but they both stalled out at one point. Kind of. Like, as we mentioned at the time, Maru's win condition was to deny the center bases, and he did, right? He successfully, like, he was successful in his, you know, goals in the mid game. And that was a big power spike for Maru. Reynor's goal was to deny those fringe bases, and he was doing so, and that, again, as we mentioned, until Maru was able to secure himself. There we go. We're going to be loading into game number 3, and I'm curious to see if we go into another longer and larger game. We've had 2 very long late game scenarios so far in both game 1 and game 2. Do we get there again? So far, standard build going 3 CC into Banshee, assuming there's an add-on swap. There it is. So this is the most standard game we've seen so far to Maru. To run it back, remember, game 1 it was a CC first hyper greed out of Maru into mech. Game 2 was a 2x Reaper build into double factory into mass Woodermine drops in the mid game. Meanwhile, this is looking as standard can be. Now obviously Maru's strengths lie in the late game, and he's been playing for the late game twice now. Does he do it again, or does he switch gears? Maru can be hyper aggressive. Can be more aggressive. So we'll see if he does take his gases at the 3rd. We'll see if he takes extra Raxes. There's a Roddy meme. Oh, okay. There you go. I mean, very clearly, so I guess discussing that a little bit here, Broodlords are very stylistic. I will say that 100%. Like, Broodlords are very stylistic. What I mean by that is, unfortunately, Broodlords are very necessary. They're very, very necessary in the late game, but they slow the game down quite a lot. And there are some players like like Reynor, for example, who's not very fond of using them, just because they just slow the game down very, very heavily, right? The moment you switch into Broodlord Infestor is the moment that you're like, okay, I'm going to stop being active, I'm going to stop rotating, going for run-bys and counterattacks, and we're going to slow the game down to a crawl, and it's going to be all about these like minute engagements and these minute details about the armies clashing. It's a very different kind of momentum, a very different kind of like unit interaction, and I would imagine that Reynor is very much a player that doesn't enjoy that. It's I guess similar to, I mean, I was going to say it's similar to Skytos, but I don't think any Protoss player avoids playing Skytos. I think they enjoy slowing the game down. But it's similar to TVP. Maybe that's a better example. Where in turn versus Protoss, technically the correct thing to do once you get into the mid game as a Terran player is to just wall up, wall off, and turtle up on 4 bases and max out. And specifically, the Terran player that comes to mind that's similar to Reynor is Bjorn, where Bjorn doesn't like doing that, and Bjorn very often, to his own detriment, tries to stay more like mid-game oriented when it comes to his army, and tries to be more aggressive and more active, and often that hurts him in the end, because he fails to like tech into the late game and tech into Liberators and Ghosts and into like a heavier like defensive army. But Bjorn is very similar to Reynor in TVP. And it makes sense, right? Like, both Bjorn and Reynor are very active players. They're very aggressive, very APM intensive. Meanwhile, it's going to be mech. Let's go, baby, let's go. As Reynor does confirm, he comes in with the Overseer. He does confirm all the factories. So standard opener into mech for Maru. And Reynor, thankfully, did get into Roaches. So, but yeah, a lot of similarities between Bjorn and Reynor in regards to their preferred like active styles, which can hurt you in the end. As Maru, he does rotate, he's being active, just applying pressure, denying some creep, denying some bases, potentially getting some drone kills as well. Behind this did go into hyperlight rotors, just like in game 1. We spoke about this earlier, but these Banshees, they do provide a lot of support from the air when it comes to punishing roaches, lings, sniping bases, denying creep. They're a very nice supportive unit here for the mech army, as they do get the expansion. Hatchery goes down. And we spoke about this earlier, but one of the reasons why Banshees do so well here in Mech vs. Zerg is because anti-air is delayed quite heavily, right? There's no anti-air here. We do see that Reynor, he's now mixing it up and going into Hydras. Interesting. He's going for a Roach Hydra composition. This will help against the Banshees, but in general, Roach Hydras considered to be a little bit less efficient than like Lingbane Roach Ravager. Versus Mech specifically. So we'll see if Reynor can pull this off. Again, taking a completely different approach compared to game 1. Building up this heavy Roach Hydra composition instead, which I believe is built more to kind of like push forward and have one strong big engage. Meanwhile, ooh, we do surround. Yes, surrounds the Hellions. But the Banshees, they do punish. And Roach is going down. And remember, Maru's not going into battle mech. There are no Cyclones. No Cyclones, only tank. So tank Hellion instead of Cyclone Hellion. Lings are punished. So far, Maru's been trading well. Sure, he got surrounded, but it was only Hellions, right? It was a very cheap army that Maru lost. Meanwhile, Reynor, he's joined up to 90. He's maxing out on his Roach Hydra composition. Ling Hydra can be okay against mech. It can be okay. I do think that Ling Hydra Viper is ideal against battle mech. Like, that's where it's a little bit stronger. But against traditional mech, I don't see this working too much. What I mean by that, how do these armies interact? Lings flood in, they get shut down by the Hellbats, and then tanks shut down everything else. So I'm a little bit concerned here with Reynor's tech of choice. His composition of choice. Vipers, I mean, they're going to be a big factor here. We spoke about the issue about the tanks, and that's why Vipers come in. Blinding Cloud's going to be crucial to allow Reynor to engage. And eventually, Maru, he will have Ghosts. The Ghost Academy is now done. Academy is done, and Ghosts are going to be on the horizon. Throwing down 2 more Raxes. Getting ready for those Ghosts. Things are deflected. Again, the Blue Flame Hellbats do deter them. Reynor, he's pushing. Okay, how many Vipers? 4. Okay, that's 4 Vipers. The goal needs to be to Blinding Cloud those tanks, and then he can break forward and potentially break the center expansion. Break that planetary. Banshees, they distract. Still causing a big distraction. Reynor does react with the majority of his army. And this is giving Maru time to max out himself. Here come the Ghosts. The Ghosts are coming. They will factor in. Oh. Nice catch. Getting 1, getting 3. Ooh, they were stuck with a move. Yeah, 3 Banshees get caught. Nice catch here by Reynor. He can now expand freely. And there's the faster Greater Spire. This is the fastest Greater Spire we've seen out of every game in this series. Scan reveals it, but but I do appreciate this out of Reynor. As we mentioned before, after the end of game 2, it does feel like we did emphasize that it feels like Reynor needs to kind of reevaluate how he's approaching the late game. And I do appreciate that he's much faster when it comes to taking up this time. So faster Greater Spire, faster Lurker Den. So he's a little more prepared for Broodlords. Not just that, but it looks like he's a little more willing to switch into Broodlords as well. But can he deal with the main army? Where are the Vipers? If Vipers not coming in, Ooh, EMP does earn them away, but doesn't connect. Again, Reynor has to be so careful with these Vipers. Army's pushing forward. Do we land those EMPs? We do! No, no, the EMPs land and no blinding clouds. With that, the army just crumbles. Reynor, he cannot engage. Ay, ay, ay. He was heavily reliant on those Vipers, and you can see every Viper got EMP'd. Oh, no. Yeah, and the tanks, they just bully the army. They just bully the army from here. Nidus Swarm into the main. Do we have any lurkers? No. Looks like maybe roaches and lings. Nidus does finish. And lings are flooding into the main, but they're hellbats to defend. And this looking dire here for Reynor. You have the lings, they do nothing. Nidus is dealt with. Maru is pushing in. Oof. And the Vipers are still, they still have no energy. Yeah, late reaction here to pull back to start gathering energy again. We can see Reynor trying to build up into lurkers. And lurkers, they will defend the ramp, but he will lose the low ground expansion. We'll lose that low ground base. Nothing nice across the map. Scan reveals the Vipers. Or he knows. There's a scan. The EMP lands on the Overseers. But Maru, he got what he wanted. He got what he wanted. Reynor does have some northern bases, but there's no mining, so it doesn't matter. Like, these hatcheries, these top two bases, I should say, don't really mean anything. As Maru rotating towards an actual mining base here of Reynor. Oof. Yeah, once again, Reynor, you cannot engage without blinding clouds. The army's clumping. Shows the clouds. Gets one. Oh, EMP does graze the army here. Oh, God. He's just moving in. Yeah. Jesus. Because there are no lurkers or banelings here, the army can just push forward. The army just push on forward here. Speaking of, where are the lurkers? They're in the Nidus Swarm. So expansion goes down. Drones are hunted down as well. Reynor should be losing all these bases. And instead he avoids the army. It's a good call. Based on this composition, Reynor cannot fight head on. He cannot fight Maru. So he's going for a counterattack, going for the Nidus Swarm. Nidus is denied. There's here further into the main. And again, Reynor's stuck with a very fragile composition. Again, like Ling Hydra Lurker isn't really built to fight head on. Banelings will help 100%. Baneling's speed is still on the way. As we try to emphasize, this army can do really well against battle mech, but against a tank Hellion heavy style, it's difficult. Just because the army for Reynor is very much so a glass cannon, right? It's a glass cannon. Does catch 2 tanks. This is denied. Reynor here will lose another expansion. And again, Reynor, he avoids the army. He's pushing across the map instead. The ghosts are here. The ghosts do defend. He's going back Reynor. And Reynor's getting bullied. He's oh god, getting bullied around here. I mean, the Nidus has potential. No, don't get anything out there. Okay. It was a bait. Thankfully, lurkers, they stay inside. If they went out, they would have all been killed. Changelings, they split up in between the bases. Ling run back on the right hand side. Does catch the tanks, not bad. Got a nice run by. SCVs are falling. Lurkers, they push in towards the left hand side as well. Okay. Reynor making some moves. Lurkers are finally able to be used in some way. Oh, Maru doesn't care. Yeah, he ignores the Lurkers. Nidus Rooms are being shut down. Reynor's main army is in the center of the map, and meanwhile his most important mining base is here on the right hand side. Reynor, this is his mining expansion. And he may just lose it. Where are the ghosts? True. Without ghosts, Vipers, they can just go to town. Massive lightning cloud. Where are the ghosts, Backy? What's going on? Maru throwing... Oh, there we go. Ghosts are coming in after that. Was up 4 or 5 tanks going down. Ay, ay, ay. 5. That was 5 tanks being thrown away. The ghosts, they were late. Oh, Bailey's, they connect. Yeah, miscontrol at Maru. Massive connections. That was 7 ghosts going down. So this is maybe the best fight that Reynor could have hoped for. And Reynor, he's catching more ghosts. Catching out more ghosts, catching out more tanks. Reynor, he will clean this up. Almost completely, but there's still 4 tanks left over. Again, Maru, his army was just kind of, it was all over the place. The ghosts were late to the fight, and when they arrived, they all clumped up and they pushed forward, so they were vulnerable to Banelings. The best fight that Reynor could have hoped for. So Reynor's in this. He's in this, Pappy. As Maru does take another expansion. Now we've been here before. We'll get there. As we do have Ling Hydra collapsing here, catching another tank. Trying to. Gets one. One tank goes down, but as we cut the map in half, it comes down to the fringe bases. Top left and bottom right. These fringe expansions here are crucial for Reynor. And once again, if he's denied these bases, then he falls behind. Speaking of, the statue is very low. This time, Maru looks like he's focusing here on the army. Is more attentive here to his force. And Reynor has to retreat. He has to retreat here. And this is what it comes down to. It comes down to this bottom right hand base and top left. On the one hand, Reynor, he's denying this expansion from Maru, but that doesn't matter. As long as no one is mining, then Maru can take that later. You can always take it later. Maru's pushing through the center. Yeah, zones away the workers. Takes out another expansion. This is still quite tense. Reynor struggling to expand. Now you might be looking at this and be looking at the banks and be like, oh, isn't Reynor okay? No. Maru has a comparable bank with a more efficient army. That's what's scary here. If Reynor, if he had this bank with like Broodlord and Fester, then sure, like Reynor would be in a really strong position. But Reynor, as we mentioned before, this army is built to be replaced. Like this is a very it's a very resource intensive army, because after you fight, you have to replenish everything basically. So it won't take long for Reynor to burn through his bank. With this composition specifically. Meanwhile, Reynor, he will lose center left. At the same time, he's going for bottom right. Maru's out of position. He's racing over. Maru's racing over, and Reynor, he has to get the hell out of here. He should get the planetary. No, he's leaving. Yeah, this move that wasn't quite worth it. He did catch a couple of tanks, but he has to leave. Remember, Reynor cannot fight head-on. He has to rely on hit-and-run tactics instead. Like poke in, get a couple of units, pull away. This expansion will go down. And speaking of burning through bank, it wasn't too long ago that I think Reynor, it was like maybe a minute ago, he had like almost 5,000 minerals. Reynor's down to 1,000. Like again, Reynor, he, as we mentioned, this army is just really resource intensive. And Reynor's running out of resources. Benny's rolling in. Gets a ghost. Yeah, he cannot push forward. He cannot push forward here. The tank line does punish, and Maru, he's snowballing out of control. GG gets called, and Maru, he will take the series 3-0, knocking Reynor out of LiuLi Cup. GG. Whew. GG, well played, Maru. He does claim the series. Again, Reynor, he did explore a couple different avenues throughout the course of this best of 5, but I want to say that game 3 was the most one-sided game here. It was the most one-sided. Game 1 and Game 2 was a little more active, a little more intense, a little more back and forth, and Reynor did have some strong moments in both Game 1 and Game 2. Game 1, of course, if you remember, Maru, he did go for a CC first build into mech, into a very heavy mech composition. That was on the Old Republic, and Reynor was able to keep up with a more mobile composition and knock down fringe base after fringe base, had that back and forth. Eventually, Maru did slow things down, though, and did overwhelm, did maintain his own expansions. Meanwhile, in Game number 2, we saw the 2x Reaper opener into mass Widow mine drop. It was crazy. 2x Reaper into double factory, into non-stop mine drop play, into eventually that late game scenario, once again going into bio tank. We saw that Reynor, he was with a more Lingbane Hydra heavy composition, and Reynor, he was knocking down base after base on the fringe edges of the map until that suddenly ended. Like, Reynor, he eventually was unable to stop the expansions. Maru was able to just build up and hunker down and max out and eventually just overwhelm Reynor. Here in Game 3, the reason why I say this is the most one-sided one is because Reynor, he was stuck on a really awkward army, right? Once again, with a very resource intensive army, very cheap army in a sense. With Lingbane Hydra, he could never fight head on. He could never fight the mech army. Lingbane Hydra isn't really built to play against mech. It can play against battle mech, against like a more cyclone heavy style, but pushing into tanks, you are heavily reliant on your Vipers, which we try to emphasize. And more often than not, the Vipers are being EMP'd, right? The Vipers are being EMP'd or sniped. The Vipers, they could barely get any value. There was one good fight that Reynor took in that entire game. One good fight. That was the fight where Maru was out of position and where his ghosts were lagging behind, and then he moved commanded into Banelings. Like, it was a really awkward fight for Maru. That was the one moment that Reynor had. That was it. that was the only moment. Aye. Again, Nice runs are being shut down. Lurkers didn't really get any value. I was praising Reynor because I thought that he was switching into Broodlords faster. Remember, we saw the Greater Sprite. We were like, oh, like he's like accepting like this more Broodlord heavy composition earlier, but he never got into it. GG. GG, well played with that. Congratulations, Maru. He does claim the series, and does advance on to the grand finals. GG, well played. Does frustrate me that Zerg don't have a way to deal with NG-based units. I mean, kind of. There are other ways to deal with that sort of thing, right? It's like there are other ways to try to approach that, with Burrowed Infestors, for example, coming in and catching out the ghosts, or trying to outzone and outposition, of course, as well. I don't think this is a good example of a series where you can talk about the strength of EMP, just because, again, Reynor, he had subpar armies in every game, right? Like, he had more mobile compositions that were more built to like harass. I guess you can talk about that here in this final game, but in general, like, this is one of the reasons why Lingbane Hydra Viper isn't really ideal against this more tank heavy style. It's just not really built for it. It's not yeah, it's very difficult to make work. So ideally, Zerg players stay away from it, right? Oh. But GG, well played. GG, well played with that. Congratulations to Maru. Again, a very intense series. We got a lot of late game as well. We got to see the full force of Maru's late game in Game 1, Game 2, and in Game 3. And with that, we have our two finalists. Here. Oh my god, as we had some more one-sided semis, it was Maru taking down Reynor 3-0 in the semifinals, and Serral taking down Rogue 3-0 in the semis as well. Let's go. Let us go. We do have our top players. It's going to be Maru versus Serral in the grand finals, and Reynor versus Rogue in the bronze match, in the third place match as well. GG, well played. Again, going to be very exciting to see Serral versus Maru, just because Serral, unlike Reynor, he is a player that's kind of like Maru, that is willing to slow the game down. Reynor, as you saw, like, he was so unwilling to get into Broodlords. Like, even the games that he went into Broodlord Infestor, you could see that he was forced into it, where he was like, fine. I guess I have to make them. But because it was such a late decision every time, like, we never got to see it in full force, right? It was always a late decision from Reynor to start to tech out. Meanwhile, Serral, he's one of those players that's willing to go there faster. Like, he's willing to meet Maru in that late game and meet Maru in that slower kind of game state. That's gonna be a long series. That's I can see a lot of hour-long games on the horizon in the grand finals. Not gonna lie. Oh god. Not like this, papi, not like this. That's the difference between Serral and Reynor. I guess you could say that Serral's a more patient player, for sure. He's a more patient player, but that's also why there's a lot of people that, and myself included, that enjoy Reynor's play because he's more active and more aggressive. He is the more active and aggressive player compared to compared to Serral. So different style, they're just different players stylistically. And we'll see how they compare. It's similar to Maru and Clem, for example, where Clem, I would say, has stronger mid-game than Maru, right? Clem, he's a little more active, a little more aggressive, he's a little more intense and a little more micro-oriented in the early and mid-game, compared to Maru, he embraces that late game. He slows the game down, he'll throw down a wall of planetaries, get into tanks, get into... I mean, we saw them in the series, right? Like, this is where Maru thrives in the best. This is where he's at his strongest, by slowing the game down and embracing that late game instead. But GG, well played. With that, we are going to be wrapping up here for the day. Tomorrow we're going to be back with the grand finals and with the bronze match as well. Tomorrow we'll be starting with the bronze match with Reynor versus Rogue, and then we'll have Maru versus Serral to end the broadcast. That'll be tomorrow. Will be tomorrow. Oh. Directly affects Zerg Energy units, which is a direct game imbalance, not race or units. That is incorrect, just because of how the Zerg army works. You are correct in saying that energy is a resource, and that's something that you can use to your advantage to kind of strip away energy from your opponents. But to like counteract that, I mean, that's why Zerg has Broodlords, which also are hyper efficient units, which aren't energy based, but they use free units to gain value over time as well. Like Zerg, they have other kind of units available to them, which kind of make up for something like an EMP. Just because they can also be hyper efficient. That's why I mentioned that I feel like this series was not a good example to like showcase that, as we were kind of emphasizing. Reynor did everything he could to avoid going Broodlord Infestor, whereas that's kind of like the style that is able to keep up with Terran in the late game. So it's important to bear that in mind. That's why I said that the series was not a good example to kind of like try to push that kind of narrative or push that kind of that idea. But otherwise, GG, well played. With that, congratulations to Maru, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll see you guys tomorrow here for the grand finals and for the bronze match. Likewise, we'll see you guys later on tonight, this evening, for C Duckling Open. So good, so good. But SDO is going to be this evening. It's our bronze to diamond tournament, of course. That is going to be I'm going to be adminning. That's going to be hosted and casted by Kuro. That's going to be this evening. So again, we do host this as a monthly tournament. Every single month we have an SDO. We have Sparkling Tuna Cup tomorrow evening as well, Sunday evening, and of course Sunday morning will be LiuLi Cup Grand Finals. We'll get you there, Pat. We'll get you. Likewise, if you enjoyed our content, if you enjoy our tournaments especially, you can support us via Patreon, !Patreon in the chat. Our Patreon does fund our tournaments on a regular basis, so it funds our monthly tournaments and our weekly open cups as well. So if you want to support us, you can do so via Patreon. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys with the finale of LiuLi Cup tomorrow morning in less than 24 hours, or we'll see you with our bronze to diamond tournament later on this evening. And if you're out there, if you play StarCraft, if you happen to be lower league, lower ranked, then you can take part, you can play as well. Bearing in mind, we don't allow off racing. So if you're a Masters player, if you're a GM player, and if you're like, oh, but my off race is like platinum or diamond, nah, unfortunately we don't allow for that, just because there's still like an inherent imbalance there when it comes to your strength as a player. So it's all about, you know, preserving the integrity of the players, of the play of the tournament. So we don't allow off racing. Otherwise, you'd have like even like pro players, you know, jump in and play like their diamond off race or something. So we don't allow for that. But otherwise, if you're out there and if you are a lower league player, then consider playing with other players of a similar skill level. A lot of fun. That's going to be this evening. Otherwise, we'll see you guys later on this evening or tomorrow. If you want to support us, you can do so via following us on YouTube, !Socials in the chat. We do stream on YouTube on a daily basis. Every single day we're on Twitch, we're on YouTube, and we also upload on YouTube every day as well. Plenty of content, plenty of VODs. If you missed out on previous groups of LiuLi Cup or Pegasus Cup or Home Story Cup or Thunderfire or Rongi Cup, it's all on YouTube. do check it out. Do check it out. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego. See you next time.